everybody, and welcome to NINJAGOCast, episode 76. I am Sensei Mesa.
I'm Sakota.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Bendo.
And hello again! The dojo has risen? Question mark? I don't know. We're here.
The NinjagoCast Monastery.
Which dojo is it now, though?
Yes, the NinjagoCast Monastery.
The Chima Monastery.
No.
Oh my god.
The Lion Temple.
How are you all doing this fine evening?
Doing good.
I've made a grave error. I can't find my drawing glove.
What? But Josh,
I literally
your
had it,
only hope for visuals.
I literally had it on me like a second ago. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. It's on my lap.
Very cool. Thank you guys for joining us. It's really cool to be here with all of you to talk about Dragons Rising. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time waiting for these episodes to come out. Josh, I think you might need to turn me down just a little bit. I was watching the replay. My long-winded nature. Oh, not my long-winded. My loud nature.
Wait, how do I turn you down specifically?
You can just
do it
right-click my name on Discord and
Yeah.
just turn me down just a bit.
Interesting. I didn't even realize that was an option.
Just a little
It
bit.
is.
I'm just kind of naturally too loud.
All the way.
Before we start, I want to kind of give a little bit of a preamble because things are a little bit different this go round compared to Ninjago casts in the past, specifically talking about the episodes. Number one, obviously, you see a white screen on the screen right now in lieu of the usual episode slideshows. That's because Joshua Deck will be gracing us with his epic art skills for today's stream, because this is going to double as an art stream. What will you be drawing, Josh, or do you want to spoil?
Oh, dude, I don't even know. Just stuff.
Oh, okay. Cool. Sick. Draw Ras'es being from Chima. Draw, like, I think that'd be fun.
Ross cheating up.
So I guarantee you whatever you'll see on the screen will be fun and exciting because Josh is a legend and is very talented at what he does. Secondarily, normally we have LJ here to do fun, quirky episode recaps in his LJ way, because usually we're just talking about an episode or two per podcast. But number one, LJ is not here. He's on, indefinite hiatus. Number two, they kind of dropped all the episodes at once because Ninjago is a Netflix original now. So while I could attempt to do a bootleg, not as funny, pseudo LJ recap style for all 10 22-minute episodes all at once in a row and take like 30 minutes, I'm going to choose to pass on that. And we're just not going to do the recaps, unfortunately. So the structure for this, we're basically going to give our opinions one by one as to what each of us thinks of Dragons Rising. And then we're going to kind of get into the big, detailed, super analytical talking point discussions as we go through the characters, the plot, the antagonists, etc., etc., etc. So, obviously, word to the wise, but this episode will contain spoilers for all of season one, or at least part one of season one of Dragons Rising, the 10 episodes that have come out as of now. If you have not seen them, leave now, unless you just don't care. Which, yeah, AJ in the patron chat is choosing to be spoiled, so bring it on. You do you, pop off.
There you go.
I'm
Best
going
friends.
I love it. But before we start, I just want to do my usual plugs so I can over-inundate you with advertising, as all YouTubers do. At least all successful ones anyway. So before you get started today, if you like the content we make and you want to see more of it, please be sure to subscribe to keep the peace and ding the notification bell if you'd like to get notifications for our videos, our live streams, etc., etc., etc. Or you can check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/the TTV channel. This is where we let you guys know whenever we post set reviews, news videos, podcasts, etc. And there is actually a lot going on right now. Josh is currently reviewing the second half of the Dragons Rising sets. And I'm not going to spill the beans, but let's just say we'll have many more reviews coming later in June and early July. So it's going to be a very exciting time for Keep the Peace for the foreseeable future. If you want to support us in any other way, please feel free to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/the TTV channel, where for as low as $1 a month, you can join our patron-only Discord server, where you can have fun behind-the-scenes chats and talk about your favorite LEGO themes. And finally, the most difficult request of all, if you liked this video or you like our channel, please give it a like, because it actually does help with the YouTube algorithm. And we appreciate any and all support you guys want to give us. We love you all very much. And with that preamble being said, let us begin NINJAGOcast. So, after the disaster that was Ninjago crystallized, a lot of us were kind of left in limbo. We didn't really know what was going to happen with the future of Ninjago. You know, some of us thought more negatively of it than others, but we were all kind of concerned. Let's put it that way. And we've been waiting with bated breath for the last 8 months until we could finally see what the future of Ninjago was going to look like. Through the advertising campaigns, through the new characters, the premise of a soft reboot kind of thing going on. What would this actually be like? Could it be good? Really, after crystallized? And well, let's start one by one. Is Dragons Rising good? Did we like it? Sakota, what did you think of Dragons Rising overall?
Well, I think out of the group here, I was probably the most excited for Dragons Rising, right? The most positive on it. And I still was very much surprised how good it actually was. I loved it. I think it might be one of my favorite seasons, actually. Top 2 or 3, definitely. So I absolutely love Dragons Rising so far for part 1.
Sick. Josh, how did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was great.
Epic.
Yeah.
Okay. Bendo, I know you had some concerns going in.
Yes.
And also, welcome. I think we need to properly welcome you to NinjagoCast. You've been on before, but this is your first actual appearance, right? As a host?
I think last episode was technically.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting already. Well, welcome again. It's cool to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. But
how did you like it?
Yeah, I was very worried going in, despite how exciting the trailers were, and despite how cool everything looked, how amazing the animation was, despite the fact that they were literally doing pretty much everything that I ever wanted for the show moving forward. I still was going in a little worried, a little anxious, because Crystallized to me was just that the main thing that I hated about Crystallized is how disappointing it was, so I just didn't want it to be disappointed again. But I am very happy to say that I am incredibly relieved, and I really, really enjoyed Dragons Rising more than I actually thought I would. And while I did have a low bar for it, it made it so that anything coming after it has a pretty high bar. So it's raised the bar quite drastically, which could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, but I'm feeling very good about it. I love what they've been doing. I think they've been making some really good decisions with the new characters. They've been doing a great job of world building, and overall just the writing in general just feels really good. It's really fun to watch. It's really engaging. Each episode leaves me wanting more, and I think that's perfect. So I'm really, really happy with it.
All right. I am, for anybody who knows me from past Ninjago casts, or if you're new to Ninjago cast, hello. I'm Meso, and I'm probably, at least formerly, I'm one of the most critical people for Ninjago. That's because I'm a Bionicle fan, and back in my day, I had very high standards for my Lego story themes, and I see Ninjago as like the spiritual successor to Bionicle in a lot of ways, and so I want it to be its best self. And when I feel that it's lacking, or when I feel it's kind of wasting its potential, I am not afraid to call that out. Sometimes to my own detriment. Sometimes one could say I'm a little too harsh. But I've not really enjoyed most of the Wild Brain era, I would say, out of Fire Chapter, Ice Chapter, Prime Empire, The Island, Master of the Mountain, Seabound, and Crystallized. I liked maybe two of those. That was Master of the Mountain and Seabound. And I kind of feel Seabound's been damaged a lot by Crystallized. So my opinions were kind of very, very, very low. And I was very skeptical going in that this was going to do anything at all to interest me. In the interest of being totally candid, I was very, very close to just kind of exiting the fandom entirely, because I don't want to like drag people down with constant negativity if people are enjoying it or having fun. I was just kind of resigned to the fact that Ninjago would not be for me, and that's okay. I should just move on. Which is why I'm shocked to say I freaking loved Dragon's Rising and thought it was awesome. So this will be positive Meso episode. I've really been trying.
Possible?
It is. It is. It is. It was on Seabound. I am capable of liking things. They just need to
I
be
was there
good.
for Seabound.
that's true. Like, I've been really racking my brains the last few weeks because I want to have some meaningful discussion and have some critiques. I have a few things, but really it's barely anything and very little substance. I think that what was here was really, really good. Really solid at what it is trying to be, which is a soft reboot integrating new characters and radical changes to the world. I think that's awesome. I think it does that super well. It introduces a lot of new characters that have a lot of potential. I think obviously we'll have to see how they're developed, and we're going to talk about that. But for what they are at, they're really cool. The production values are off the charts. They're popping off. They're really good. And I think it's very cool and a very good entry point for new people, as well as kind of a shot in the arm for diehard fans who are looking for something new. I do have some quibbles I'll bring up later, but overall, yeah, I think it knocked it out of the park. And the only reason I'm not saying it's one of my favorite seasons is because it's only half of a season, and
Yeah,
we kind of need to wait to see how it all shakes out, because it could all be ruined. Like the first half of Crystallized was pretty good too.
True.
And then it all fell off a cliff. So I think the best way to handle this is to kind of move through a list of the big topics, since we can't really do the traditional episode by episode reviews. But if you do want our raw thoughts on each individual episode, we have a full reaction series to Dragon's Rising, which is on the channel right now. We don't talk super in depth, but we do kind of give our cursory thoughts on each episode as we go, and you're going to get a bit more fine detail there as opposed to the general discussions here. But I think the first place to start is the characters, both the new ones and the old ones. But we have to start with the two new protagonists, two Ninjago, Arin and Sora. How did we like Arin and Sora, guys?
They're epic.
Yeah, I think they're great additions. Just the concept of having like two new members on the team, I think, was very smart, especially in the way they did it. Because like Arin's the super ninja fan who basically knows everything about the ninja, and Sora is like she's from a different world, she knows nothing, and that's like I think that's ideal to introduce new people to Ninjago.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was very smart the way they handled that.
I think the best thing about them, because obviously I like both of them for their own merits, and I'm sure we'll talk about them, but I think the thing that really helps make them work is their friendship with each other. It's very endearing to watch. They have a lot of good moments with each other, like just banter, teamwork, rapport, especially in the first 2 episodes. Oh, actually, the first 3 episodes, because the carnival is all about them too. Kind of before we get into the super plot, but even then, it's an Arin and Sora mission. They're just fun to watch. That's really it. They feel like believable friends. It doesn't feel like forced or ham-fisted. And they have a natural kind of charisma about them that makes them fun to watch. On an individual character basis, I do think Sora comes off a bit better than Arin, because this is kind of Sora's season. When you really think about it, she very much is the one that kind of is driving the plot. She's the one with the ties to Imperium. Arin does kind of just feel like he's there at times, but I'm sure that will be fleshed out more in the future. His role on the team is to be like the ninja fan, to come into his own, to figure out about like his spinjitzu stuff and kind of become his own person. I think he fills that role just like Lloyd did back in Rise of the Snakes, which, by the way, that's the vibe this season feels like to me. It feels like modern Rise of the Snakes.
Yeah, I think the dynamic,
which is a compliment.
I think the dynamic helps a lot, because the standout to me in Rise of the Snakes that I love about that season is just how the 4 main ninja play off each other so well that I don't think they've ever been able to replicate it since. Like, no. I think the 4 main ninjas dynamic in that first season was just so strong, and I do definitely get heavy vibes with that, especially with just like the way that the Sora and Arin play off of each other. And I hope they retain that. I hope that doesn't change. I hope they don't like go away from that like they did with the original core ninja, because I really enjoy that dynamic that they share. And I think, like, I really just hope that they use that dynamic to kind of like push each other throughout whatever arcs they have, or maybe test that dynamic, challenge that dynamic, do something with it. But I think for the first 10 episodes, and even if they kept it this way for the first season, it's a really strong like dynamic to have at the beginning. I just hope that they like elevate it further.
When you're trying to reboot a show in a way that is more of a tonal reboot than, you know, a lore reboot, like all the continuity is preserved, but this is clearly meant to be a jumping on point. This is how you do it. You know, and I think when you compare this to the Fire chapter, it's night and day. Because it's not about the amount of references you have necessarily. It's about what are your episodes consisting of. This season, I would argue half of them are what would be construed as like episodic or like quote unquote filler content. If we were looking at old Wild Brain seasons where we're like, oh, they have an episode like the absolute worst. Yeah, that's filler because it's not progressing the main plot. But with this season, those episodes exist. They are the main plot because they're character building and they're world building. So you can't really leverage that as a criticism. Arin and Sora go to a party and they fight a random magician who's like sucking the energy out of Prime Empire rats. Does that further the goal of Imperium or in the Imperium plotline in any way? No. But did we learn a lot about? I guess technically it does.
It did, yeah. Because
later,
Ras'es comes in and takes him.
It was definitely a detour, but it was a good detour because it was character building. And we do that for the first 5 episodes. Ninja go to a new realm area. They hang with the locals. They solve a problem. We learn about the world. That's essential when you've changed the world in the way you have. I think if they had tried to do 10 episodes of pure Imperium plot, it wouldn't have been nearly as good.
I
Especially
think it
because
also eases you into the Imperium plot. And when I rewatched the episodes, I think it was really cool how you kind of these quote unquote filler episodes, which I don't think are filler at all. They always have a little bit of the Imperium plot in there, like Rapton's in most of these episodes, like catching some dragon. When they're in the Cloud Kingdom, he catches the ice dragons. And those are the dragons they free later when they're in Imperium. So it's kind of like all leading to the end, which I think is really cool.
I agree.
yeah. I think the only time I noticed that we were going on a detour was with like the episode 3 like festival carnival thing. But like it didn't hinder anything. It was just like, oh, this is a
No,
really cool
yeah.
piece of world building. I really enjoyed this. The cliffhanger at the end was really solid.
It's one of my favorite episodes because
Yeah.
it feels like classic Ninjago.
Yeah,
Because
especially with
they
like,
would have episodes like that.
yeah, with the lessons learned at the end of the day and everything, and you know, you
Yeah.
get Lloyd gets taught a lesson, Arin and Sora get taught a lesson, and then
That's
they
that's
continue
important.
on.
I can see some people feeling that as a critique, like, oh, I don't really want to see episodes like that. We saw them like 10 years ago, but like that's what you get when you have a soft reboot like this. You've reset the tone of the show back to how it used to be, which if you're trying to get new people on board, this is how you do it. Just make it good, just make it entertaining, just make it enjoyable. And I think they did. There wasn't a single time I was like, oh, let's get back to the plot, please, because I was enjoying what was going on. And it all did further the plot anyway. So
Yeah.
I think it was very, very cool. I want to read 2 super chats. First one is from Chonky for 199. Thank you very much. It says, don't give Arin elemental powers, please. I do agree.
I agree. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter go like, he's the master of spinjitzu, and I really hope that's not the case.
I'm gonna buy as many figures and throw it at my wall if he becomes the master of spinjitzu.
What's that even
And I
mean?
see Makutras says, some activity book said one of Arin's goals is to find his elemental power. Great. Well, I'm gonna hope that's not canon. Or
Well,
else...
I mean, it could be a story where he's like, hey, every one of my friends has an elemental powers. I want to find mine. And the story is like, you can be special without an elemental power.
True.
I saw some people speculating that maybe he's the elemental master of creation after Wu, which would
That's
I
I
don't
said
know
that
how I'd
when we
feel
had the
about that.
first trailers. I actually think that would be pretty fun.
I think it would be interesting depending on how they do it.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
because his spinjitzu has the same color. I think that's kind of why people might think about that. But yeah,
Interesting.
I'd be
Okay.
fine with him not having any elemental power.
Yeah.
Josie said €5. This one's great. It says
Pounds.
Pounds, sorry. Me not know European currency, me small brain American, me like hamburger. Anyway. Thoughts on the dialogue. Personally, I thought the exposition in the first 4 episodes was abysmal and really hurt Arin and Sora's dynamic. Also, screw Ben.
You're so mean, Joseph.
Wow. That's mean.
So, I mean, I had no issues at all with the dialogue.
Yeah, me neither.
There wasn't a single, and trust me, I love pointing out some cringy dialogue. I need to know like what you're referring to.
I think the only thing where I could maybe see how it's like heavy-handed was in the very beginning of episode 1, with Arin like basically telling the backstory of the merge and like introducing all the ninja, and then it turns out he's like telling that to the dogs on the
that's fair.
On that I don't scrapyard.
I can
but
see that being an eye roller if you're.
Yeah,
if
but
you're
I
not
think
new
they
to the
handled
show.
it pretty funny with like, oh, I'm running out of stories here. So
True.
they were.
I found it
aware
pretty
of
entertaining.
Yeah,
I thought it was really
I had
fun
no
how they
problem
did
with it.
that. I think it was really fun how they did that opening sequence just all together. It was a really interesting perspective to see like the ninja saving the day from Arin's perspective, and I think it's in character for Arin to have that kind of monologue and dialogue, because he's just kind of geeking out over it.
Mhm.
True.
So it's like it's in character, so and it services like the exposition. So to me, it doesn't like take me out of it.
I also just felt like introducing the ninja in that way, it kind of helped give them like the renown.
yes.
And I feel like if you are a new viewer, you'll get like, okay, these are like heroes.
That's
people
something I wanna. I don't know. I think it's a good point to mention it now. I feel like this season does a really good job to hype up the ninja.
Yes.
Basically, because in like previous seasons, especially in like the Wild Brain era and Fire chapters, this ninja seemed so useless and weak sometimes.
Yeah, and they're just
but
like
because-
lazing around.
Yeah, because they're like these missing heroes in the season, and like the first episode ends on Lloyd coming back, and it's like a big hype moment. And then like when they bring back Zane, it's also like this big moment. And with Kai and Nya, you have the flashbacks and stuff. They really like hype up the ninja and make them look cool.
It almost feels like this would be like a show that would premiere like 10 or 15 years after the original. Like
Yeah.
bringing back the nostalgic characters with like a big fanfare, but it's done like so naturally to where I'm like, yeah, these guys are cool. I remember when these guys were cool.
It doesn't mean the ninja are super competent in everything in this season.
Yeah, but they're
the way they
they're fun.
introduce them and stuff,
I always get
seem very
excited
epic.
when a new
Ninja
character
comes back.
when a ninja comes
Yeah.
back, which is very impressive considering two of them are Nya and Lloyd.
Yeah. And then we have another super chat from Magic Ninja 6195, $2. Thank you very much. She says, I will say I loved the self-aware humor. I agree. The humor was very good. I laughed a lot. It was genuinely a really, really, really funny season with very smartly written dialogue and fan favorite character Labo making waves.
Labo labo.
Rapton was super
Yeah.
Oh my
funny
goodness,
too.
Rapton was amazing.
Wrapped and I have another super chat to read, but Sakota, I want to do a poll.
Okay.
You help me with a poll?
Josh has to do the poll. Maybe I can do it. I can try it.
I mean, if you're a mod, you should be able to do it.
I can do it, but I have to go into the studio thing. I can do it. Give me
Okay.
a sec, and then I can do it.
Cool. What I basically want to know, I want people to weigh in whether they want, not think, but want Arin to have a power or not.
What they want?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just curious. I want to get a read on people's opinions because for me, that's like a net negative thing. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people would like that. Maybe people think power is fun, you know? I just think it'd be cool to have a ninja that is just a dude with a grappling hook.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I would love a story where we would have a character that doesn't have powers but has to still fit in with like his idols. And he's like, oh, well, I idolize these people, but I don't have powers, but he overcomes that. And the fact that he's just so talented as like a spinjitzu master, like we have dialogue where Lloyd's like, it doesn't even matter. Like you learn spinjitzu by yourself. You're like incredibly talented. And I feel like if they play into that instead of him having powers, that would be a very satisfying story to see unfold.
That's kind of also how the whole part 1 ends, with like Arin kind of being sad. He was like, oh, he's kind of concerned the ninja are leaving him now that the other ninja are back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that might tie into him wanting to have his own elemental power. He feels like, oh, everyone else has one.
I'm sure that will, and that could be a good part of his story, you know?
Yeah.
I just, there's other things you can do, and I feel like they could be a bit more creative. We're already kind of pushing it with Sora, like elemental technology.
I mean, we're still not complete. Do we want to talk about elemental masters?
we may as well. Let me just read this last super chat from Chonky. 199. Thank you so much again. Says, I'm redrawing Heatwave's design. I hate it a lot.
What?
I like
What? What are you gonna bag on Heatwave? I hate the set, but the show's fine. No,
I like the design of her. I think it fits her character a lot.
Yeah. Well, what about the dragon, right?
What do you mean?
Heatwave. Talking about
Yeah,
the dragon, Heatwave.
Oh, the
Yeah,
dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get that. Yeah, I was thinking Wyldfyre. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too, actually. But also, like, the show version of Heatwave is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the poll is live. Thank you, Sakota. Please feel free to vote on that. I'm curious to see what you think. So far, it's pretty overwhelmingly no, but yeah, just keep voting. We'll leave it open for another few minutes. I'm curious to see your thoughts. Let's talk about Elemental Masters. So the big deal, obviously, is Sora has a power. It is not properly given a name. They refer to it maybe as technology, but they're not
Everyone
really
says
sure.
technology,
I think there's
yeah.
a scene where she literally like goes up and says, "I'm the elemental master of
Yeah, I
technology,"
mean,
which was
but that
very
is, like,
jarring. But I don't know if that's
her.
like,
I
yeah,
think that was
might just
her bluffing to Rapton, right?
yeah.
But yeah, they all call it Elemental Master of Technology. Of course, we still don't know, like, because in the show she very much doubts that she has a power, because it only works whenever Ryu gives her the power. But yeah.
LOL. I really hope it's not technology. It's stupid. I think there's just call it magnetism.
I know that's what I was like.
But
hoping
that
it
has
would be.
different implications, right?
She can move stuff around. She can hack stuff. She can do like electromagnetic signals. She can like shut off stuff. I guess maybe it wouldn't work with how they end things, like the photac. I don't know.
I mean, the photac like stuff is metallic underneath.
Maybe
I mean,
I would
the
prefer
device itself, yeah.
I would prefer for it to be a fundamental force of nature that has a relevance to technology versus just actually being technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, the elemental powers are already a bit jarring what all is considered one.
Yeah.
So I don't
But,
really
like,
mind if
I think
technology would be one.
I think that there's a difference between like, because like all of those are like, you know, mostly forces of nature that have already existed forever. Whereas technology is like a very new thing, you know. Like if they get all their powers from the dragons, then that implies that like the dragons like have technology as a power, you know.
I mean, there's a mech dragon. No. She got her power from the Nindroid mech dragon. No.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess music, for example. No, wait, it's sound.
Sound,
right? Yeah. Sound works. Yeah, I'm just thinking if there's any form is kind of a weird one, right?
Form is a weird.
It is.
I mean, yeah.
But I feel like the concept of a physical form and a state of being is a pretty easily explainable idea.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, speed was obviously the biggest stretch, but that's
So it's time.
Oh no. Oh no. So I don't know. I'm not like super mad about it. It's one of those like minor things. But oh yeah, Amber was a weird one, wasn't
it? Amber, they have a lore explanation though. Amber isn't like the other elemental powers. If people read the Amber Legacy short story.
But is that canon?
I assume it is because it was released on Lego's website.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not sure. Yeah, we didn't.
That would be a
get
pretty safe
confirmation, I think.
I'm at the point where I don't even care what's an element anymore. Like, give a character any power and just write them well, and I'll excuse it. I'm more so confused about like the whole Wyldfyre and Kai thing. Like, are they both fire? Is Wyldfyre heat?
I
Like,
think
what's
she's
going on
probably
there?
heat or something like that. But
that's what my guess is as well.
Because there is a thing in stories, especially stories that have power systems like Ninjago, when they run on for so long, you're going to start to get characters with like samey abilities, and they differentiate them in very minor ways. Like my go-to example is always One Piece, because I'm like a One Piece super fan. There's a guy who ate, like, in One Piece, they have like devil fruits that give them abilities. There's one guy that ate like the flame fruit, and he could just turn his body into flames. And like if someone punches him, his body will like basically part ways to dodge the punch, and he'll just become flame. But then there's also the heat fruit that's eaten by this other guy. And his thing is he can just make his body really hot, and he can like burn through stuff, and he can like stick his hands in the water and like boil the water. So they're similar, but they're different in like minor ways. This is probably a similar thing.
Charnak's super chat is pretty much exactly what I wanted to say right now. Disappointing if Wyldfyre is a master of heat, so redundant, unlike Bionicle, which had fire and plasma, or iron and magnetism, or earth and stone.
Yeah, no, by all means, this is very much just a Lego, this is just a problem in anything that has powers like this. There's a lot of redundancies after a while. I forgot about plasma. It's funny.
Yeah. So I think we don't know yet exactly, right, with Wyldfyre and how all that works. I think the common theory is that she's like heat and something else, not fire. Or I think the other scenario would be that now after the merge there can be multiple masters of one element, right?
Yeah,
it's possible.
There's a lot of questions surrounding Wyldfyre. Like, it was the implication that she came from space.
Dude,
yes.
that's
or
I forgot about that.
Because if that's the case, then you could have this whole theory. Well, she is fire, but from a different planet.
Dude, Wyldfyre came out of nowhere.
Okay, but Wyldfyre's powers started when the merge happened.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean, that okay. Another thing about that, Wyldfyre and Euphrasia's powers started when the merge happened, right? Which makes sense in my opinion. Because beforehand, all the elemental masters always were from Ninjago, and never from any of the other realms. And it kind of makes sense, at least to me, that after the merge, it was possible that someone from not Ninjago could get powers, right?
Possible, yes.
If the powers usually manifest after you unlock your true potential, right? So did they already unlock their true potential beforehand, and then after the merge they got the powers, and then they can use them immediately? Or how does that work?
That's so weird. I don't even know.
Good question.
I think out of all the questions that the season like brings to the table, the elemental power questions are the only ones that I can't really see them having clear answers for in the future. I feel like a lot of the other stuff is plot related stuff that could be like answered in the future or be paid off. Maybe they'll do something with Wyldfyre that kind of answers some of this, but like I don't know. It's just it's a lot of confusing lore stuff that messes with
I feel
my
the
head.
opposite. I feel there probably is going to be an explanation. Otherwise, they would have just said what it is. Like,
I think the way
I make myself hot. I don't use fire.
Yeah,
the way they're playing it with like Kai explicitly asking Lloyd, like, wait, couldn't there only be one elemental master of each element and stuff like that? And them like also like specifically showing they got their powers after the merge for both Euphrasia and Wyldfyre. I think they have an explanation in mind. I just hope it's a good one that makes sense with what we knew before.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Let me do some super chat catch up because there's a lot. And thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Chonky, $2 says just the dragon. So just Heatwave's design.
Okay, I can agree with that.
I like the story of how they bond. I agree. I have lots to talk about with Wyldfyre. Superfan Go, $2. I love this one. What if Arin is the elemental master of ninja? You know what? I agree. I'm down for that. I take it all back. Speaking of which, the poll, I think we can go ahead and end. 76% no, 24% yes. Thank you all very much for weighing in. I appreciate it. Then we have another one from Chonky. 199 says, yeah, what's up with that worm? Yucky. Dude, I got stuff to talk about with the worms. All right. We'll get to that. Trust me. AJ Walker, £2. This season was cool. Easily my favorite. Smile. How about you go watch it, AJ? You haven't even seen it yet. That's not nice. And then you read Shardax. And then another one from Superfan Go, $5. Elemental Master of Heat is like there being an Elemental Master of Cold Water or an Elemental Master of Electricity. Dude, I would love that. Cold water.
Cold water.
That's just saying.
Is that like the opposite to hot air?
No, it's just saying, bro. Easy. Easy. Thank you guys very much. All good super chats, and we appreciate the support very much. There was a comment from Mary on the patron chat. She says, could just be a sub branch of one of the original 4 elements. Heat is a sub branch of fire, metal for earth, water for ice, and wind for lightning. Their bodies or genetic code could have just acclimated to the base universe of the merge, that being Ninjago. Bam, new elemental masters. It's an idea. It's a good idea, I would say. The only thing that I would wonder about is like water and wind specifically being tied to like Ujira.
Yeah. I
Um,
think, Josh,
forget
we
about
had a
that
discussion when the episodes were coming out where we had like a theory, which was like all the elemental powers in Ninjago basically come from the first Spijitzu Master and Ujira. And he brought them basically from the first realm, assumably got them from the dragon side, and then he gave them to the first elemental masters, and from then on they were inherited always to the next elemental masters. But now that basically all the realms merge, maybe they're like other sources for powers, maybe other dragons, maybe the source dragons, that have other powers, and now all these powers are of course then in the merged realm. That could be a way to explain like stuff like technology and heat and powers we didn't have before.
I mean, I think also like the idea that if we consider Firstborn to be like a source dragon, and the first Ninjutsu Master would be like the descendant of like a source dragon and would be able to give powers away, and so like basically now we just have another it's not like a hierarchy where it's like anything's like higher or lower. It's like these dragons are like on the same level as Firstborn or something like that, maybe. And and can like give.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Josh.
Oh, that was mostly like what I had to say. It also makes sense if like Lloyd is able to give powers away to like to the ninja in the earlier seasons. If he's
like he did rebooted.
Yeah.
I do. I'm really interested to see if they will incorporate and explain what Firstborn is in relation to a source dragon. There's one bit of dialogue where Zane like scans the energy of the source dragon, and he's like, "I've never seen this much energy before," but Zane has seen Firstborn. So, does that mean the source dragons are more powerful than Firstborn, who's supposed to be the mother of all dragons? I wonder if they have a good explanation for that.
Yeah, I'm wondering about like Firstborn in general, because I was like convinced that the dragon, like the giant source dragon, was gonna be Firstborn, and it turned out it wasn't Firstborn, and I was kind of disappointed by that. So I'm wondering if there's like what's the reason behind that? Like, what's the?
I mean, the way they talk about it is that there are very clearly multiple source dragons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Firstborn would be like
Firstborn.
This source dragon for. Is it like per realm or?
Maybe
either that.
Because if it's per realm, then Firstborn could be the source dragon of the first realm.
It's either that or Firstborn being the mother of all dragons was like greatly exaggerated.
The entire concept of source dragons is just kind of like weird to me.
Retcon.
Yeah.
But
that
I think I talked to you, Josh, about it. My idea was maybe that like if Firstborn is the mother of all dragons, maybe she was like in the beginning like super powerful, and then the source dragons are basically her direct offspring, and they took a bunch of the power from her, and like all the other dragons are like the offspring of the source dragons, I guess.
Yeah, that could work.
So it's like the third generation or yeah.
I want to well, okay, I got a few more super chats. Thank you, Chonky. $2, Imagine Woo Gaming in Another Realm. And then $5. That's why when he turned gold, he looked like a Lego website video game.
Woo gaming.
Dude, that scene.
Lego
Oh.
video game woo.
That was funny. That was a good scene.
That was pretty funny.
Let's again before we get too far away from like the Wyldfyre thing. I just want to focus back up. We talked about Arin and Sora. Tons more to say on them. I wasn't like necessarily prepared for Wyldfyre because she wasn't heavily in the marketing. She was on like one comic cover, which was like a reference to an X-Men comic cover from way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And they included her on that cover, and we're like, "Oh, who's that character?" And then she was in the set, but like,
She was in one of the
seemed-
trailers too.
she seems to be just part of the gang. She's at the monastery, so like that's 3 new people, not just the 2.
Yeah,
even though
I
she
think
kind of
they're-
came in late.
I think they're slowly building up a new team, I would imagine.
And she was
Because-
really fun.
Yeah. Especially
I mean,
the
the way
dynamic
they-
with Kai.
Yeah,
like,
that
my
was really
favorite
funny.
part.
The way they made it sound in the original, like the press release and the round table, like that they're gonna have a rotating cast of team members, and I think Wyldfyre will probably be in that rotation, right?
That's epic. I mean, I
Yeah.
love that. And more the merrier, so long as they all have interesting things to do at some point.
Mhm.
I think with Wyldfyre, immediately they introduced her in such a way. I'm like, oh, she came from space.
Yeah.
I want to know more about what's going on.
I really
with
want to
that.
know what realm she was in.
Same. I'm just surprised we had like that whole flashback sequence. I wasn't expecting that for
Me too.
Wyldfyre.
It was just like planting a seed that I'm sure at some point they'll do more with.
Which
But it was
is
like,
weird.
oh, I'm curious.
It's really nice
So-
too, because that means we have like a basic backstory for all 3 new characters, like main characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's more to expand on.
Yeah, and there's
later.
there's a ton more to expand. So there's still mystery behind them that like leaves you intrigued to want to know more, but they have a core foundation so that we're not completely left in the dark where they came from.
Now that Tommy's no more in the Ninjago team, are they setting up the space season?
That
Oh.
I saw a comment in the Patreon chat about that from Ice Dragon 7. He said, "I like the fact that as soon as Tommy, who refused to do a space season, left, they introduced the character supposedly from space."
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, bring it on. That could be funny. I love it. Also, another super chat from Chonky, $2. Thank you for all your support. Says she came from Angry Birds space. Yes, she is very angry. She absolutely is. She likes to fight things, and she was just very fun. Like, fun character, fun dialogue, cool dynamic with the dragon, cool dynamic with Kai, and hopefully the rest of them, and potential to do more with her in the future. Also, the entire concept of like a character being raised by a dragon.
Yeah. They're
Mhm.
doing a lot
Awesome.
with dragons, of course, for the season. And I
They're
think they have
rising,
like
man.
very interesting different dynamics of the characters with the dragons, with like Wyldfyre being raised by dragon. Arin kind of is like the who looks after Ryu all the time. Sora being like dependent on Ryu's power, and it's basically in this whole situation because she didn't want them to torture the dragons in Imperium. And Lloyd kind of finding out about the source dragons and all that. So they have a lot going on relationship wise with like characters and dragons.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I give them big props for that because initially I kind of rolled my eyes when the title like Dragons Rising came out. I was like, oh, this is all about dragons, huh? I've never really been that into them, but they're setting up interesting stuff and new types of dragons that have new relevance to the world and the characters. A plus. I think they integrated it super well.
Mhm.
I wanted to double back to talk about Sora, because I think Sora, like I said, she's definitely the central character. If we go by how we always used to judge Ninjago seasons, like which character deeply affects the plot, Sora obviously is the one that does the most because she's from Imperium. And they mentioned that like immediately. She's like, "Oh, I'm from Imperium," and they're not that great. We're like, "Oh, okay, you know things." And you kind of go through the season, and they give little like hints here and there, but then it all kind of really kicks off in episode 6 when we get her flashback, which I didn't really expect to get a full scale flashback of her childhood, kind of like cut between present day events. That was super cool. And I just think it was a good story. The fact that she like kind of admired this scientist lady only for her to turn out to be an evil scumbag and her to get like disillusioned and run away, but have her tech be utilized for other things that she wanted, kind of showing how Imperium society is super like warped through the eyes of her parents and her peers. I think was a very good way to do it as well.
Yeah. The merge basically being her chance to escape all that.
Yeah. And the fact that she kept it secret from Arin and didn't like tell him everything about where she came from.
Yeah. I think personally, I think Sora for now is like my favorite of the new characters. And I think she probably has like the most potential for interesting stories in the future. And I think tying her to Imperium was just such a smart idea because it really gives us a lot of insight into the world, and it gives them an excuse through her flashbacks to like show off the world of Imperium, which in itself is fascinating.
Yeah.
But I just really like how her motives are tied to that. And I think it adds more of a connection, a personal connection to the villain, which is really important, especially if they want to set this up as Sora's season for this first like set of episodes. I think it's obviously always really important to have your main character tied to the villain in some way, and the whole backstory, the way she kind of was raised there, idolized like the people like up top, and then met them, realized that they were bad, that they were harming the dragons, and then was practically like disowned by her own parents, and was given a chance to like escape, and is now like coming back to go against them. I think it's just like a really fun story. Maybe fun isn't the way to put it, but it's a really entertaining story.
Josh, you're crazy with this artwork. You're making good progress.
Oh, so yeah,
I'm not. Look at this canvas.
But I like it. I like what you're doing.
I like the
Thanks,
Ryu drawing you did.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You
You got my man Buckethead. He's representing.
Yeah.
It's Melvin. That's one of them.
I wanted to get their designs out of the way. Just wanted to make sure, like, just want to see what they would look like in real life.
Yeah.
I think the Sora backstory episode immediately like made Imperium so much more interesting as a villain faction, because it kind of like in some ways humanizes them, because you see, oh, these guys are like indoctrinated from their childhood. These are normal people with normal lives in some way, but they don't exactly know about the dragon energy stuff, but they believe that it's all good.
They believe the propaganda.
This is the thing that I enjoy so much about the season 2, is that we get to see these worlds like Imperium and like the Crossroads, but we get so much like info on them. We get to learn so much about them. Like if you think back to if you look back at like Merlopia and Shintaro, they're cool locations. We have no idea how those places actually run and operate, though.
Yeah.
We have no idea. But you come to like Imperium and you have this whole explanation of how like everyone has to like do what the Empress says, and how everyone's like you have these twisted perspectives where like these kids are like, oh, thank the Empress for giving us this recreational time. We're so thankful to have the Empress for this. And it's so interesting just to see that. And then also
the comedy was also
and it served the comedy really well. And having Arin like come into like those group of kids was like, it was really funny. It was really cool to see how those kids were like wanting to become like the claws. So we kind of got to see where the claws came from.
It kind of struck that middle ground of being like funny, but also being like,
kind of like depressed.
Places like.
The joke that I think was so well written was like with some of the Imperium guards who were just like, "Oh, I got new shoulder pads. They look like everyone else's. They're gonna be so jealous."
Yes.
It's like the idea of like they all have to fit in, but he still wants the others to be jealous of him. I thought that was so funny.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. The Imperium in general, I was not sold on them. Like I love Rapton, I do, but I feel like if they were just like Rapton and Raz, I feel like it would have gotten old.
Mhm.
Introducing the actual realm and what it's like on episode 6, and seeing like the scientist lady and the
Yeah.
civilians and the empress, like it immediately clicked, and I was instantly sold. Like, okay, these
Oh,
guys are a
Also,
good...
while we're on Sora, her like arch nemesis being the other kid in the school.
Dude,
Oh my
It was
god,
so
I forgot about
funny.
that.
When she's like,
who?
"What's your name again?" Did you
I was
always
there
have
the
that hair
whole
color?
time watching in the background.
And if you go back to the backstory episode, you always see her in the back be like angry and
Yeah.
stuff. It's really good.
I love it.
Great.
It's set up very, very well. Now I will say, to bring it back, this is one of my critiques, and I feel like Monarb puts it very well in the super chat. Actually, wait, not the super chat. It was sorry, I need to read Monarb's super chat. My mistake. I'll do that first. It would be cool if each ninja got a student who's kind of like them and have similar powers, like fire and heat, water and wind, since they're connected. Sorry, my mind got mixed between the point I was making and the super chat. But thank you, Monarb. I agree. I
think that
like
could be cool. I like the mix up though. I wouldn't want like everyone to have one master. I like them learning different stuff from different people.
I do,
Mhm.
but I also do think there's merit in more ninja than just Lloyd taking a
Mhm.
teaching role.
Yeah.
Maybe not this is your only master, but like, they're
Yeah.
all doing it. It's not just Lloyd. The comment that was in proximity to that super chat that I was going to read was from Makutros, who says, "I fear that Sora's character will be drained after this season. This is her entire origin story we have just seen." And I do fear that as well. I don't want to go full doomer mode, but I will say we've seen her childhood, we've seen her big like regret, we've seen her leave. There's really not anything between that we can really draw from in terms of her time from Imperium.
Yes,
Well, but
but
if you want to do more stories, you can always like, for example, bring her parents back into the picture, or
she also has like the whole training stuff to do where she has to master her tech powers and get over the idea that she doesn't that she thinks she doesn't have powers.
Right, but I'm
And
sure she'll do that by the end of
by the
part
end of
2.
this season, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's still more with her to do than a lot of the ninja had in the beginning. That's kind of the way I see it. You know what I mean?
I do. And I mean, that's
None
kind
of
of how
the
I'm trying
OG
to
ninja
judge.
had like a direct connection to the villains in the first season. Maybe except for Lloyd.
That's kind of
but-
how I'm trying to judge these characters, because one of my common refrains has been the problem with the old ninja is that they weren't developed to last as long as they were. They're good
Yeah.
characters, but they had to kind of stretch them out to get new storytelling value. But with Arin and Sora and Wyldfyre and Euphrasia, all of them, they're made for this new era with the expectation that they're going to last for a while. So they would theoretically design them with enough depth to last for a while. Fingers crossed.
Yes, but also I don't expect the new characters in this new era to last 12 years. You know what I mean?
Because they'll get cycled out, theoretically.
Because they did it once, they can bring in more.
I agree, and that's what I'd prefer, but still, I would like to, in 3 years' time, not be having the conversation where we're like, oh, Sora just recycled her character arc again. I would like a little bit of of planning. Like, okay, well, if we're gonna bring Sora back in the future, what kind of stories are we gonna tell with her?
That's why I think it would be important to kind of expand on Sora's dynamic with Arin, because I think they could definitely get some conflict out of that, especially with if they go down the path of Arin not having powers and Sora having powers.
They could do like a jealousy plot.
Yeah, they could challenge their bond. They could somehow strengthen it through some kind of arc. They could do really anything with that, and I hope that's the direction that takes, especially if we see Arin go through an arc in the next season, because it does really seem like season 1 is for Sora, then season 2 might be more for Arin.
I agree.
Or something like that.
Either that or part 1 is Sora and then part 2 is Arin.
Yeah, and then they could save
way.
the rest of Sora's story for season 2 or something like that. But
yeah. I mean, I think like because the problem is Sora has this great like backstory that ties into the villain faction. We've already seen Arin's backstory. We saw it in the flashback. So with him, they're really gonna have to lean on present day stuff, and I think they can do that very well. I think there's plenty of things they can do. The jealousy plot, finding his identity, finding his parents. That's like his driving, thing. Maybe my parents are still alive. Opening. Can I just say, okay, minor detail. Episode 1, Arin and Sora are talking, and they're talking about they want to win prize money, and here's what they're gonna do with the money. And Arin's like, I'm gonna open a monastery, just like the old ninja, to keep the teachings going for all the kids who lost their parents in the merge. Yeah. And Sora's like, and I'm gonna open like a shop where we don't have to like scrounge around for like parts or whatever. Like we can just get what we need. That's awesome. Immediately endearing, likable, because they have like aspirations. They have things they want to do, not just be a hero. They have like goals in life. And I don't recall the other ninja necessarily having that. And it was immediately endearing to me, because one of my favorite shows is One Piece. And in One Piece, every character has their dream that they spend the whole show working to. I don't know. I just liked it.
It's really evident when you go back to the pilots and you realize that Kai's entire motivation was saving Nya.
Yeah.
And then they go into Rise of the Snakes, and he pretty much has zero motive.
I mean, then they turn it into he wants to be the Green Ninja. But
yeah. That's true.
But, yeah.
And I think it's fine after a while if people like homogenize into like, okay, well, we have a dream, but now we're devoting to like a higher purpose. Like after a while, it became we want to be heroes and save people, and that was what they wanted to do. But I just thought it was fun that they had something different, and I really liked it, so I wanted to call it out.
I also enjoy that aspect a lot. It makes they did a very good job of setting up these characters to where I like immediately care about them, which is like incredibly important when you're writing 2 new main characters. Like I immediately sympathize with them. I like buy into their bond. I buy into like what they want to achieve. And they have like these different personality traits, like Arin like looking up to the ninja, and like Sora kind of doubting herself. That like kind of makes you want to root for them. So I think they did a really good job just setting up these 2 main characters so that they could have like, or at least so that I could be like invested in them. It's just, where are they going to take them from here? Are they going to kind of exhaust their arcs early, or are they going to have cool stuff planned after they finish their main arcs? I would hope that they have like the origin stories, and then they have stuff to do after that. That's kind of feel more like from conflict either between the characters themselves or from another outside conflict coming in, whether that be another villain faction or something that happens to the world.
I kind of hope that Imperium is around for a bit longer, not just maybe season 1.
Yeah,
because I think there's a lot you can do with them. And if they're closely tied to Sora's backstory, I think that would be cool, but I don't know if they will do that.
Makutros did ask in the YouTube chat, do you think Ras'es will be a recurring character for the show after this season? They're setting up a lot with him. There's clearly stuff going on with him. and it seems like the back half of the season is going to be about the Empress. So probably, but we'll have to see. As for the rest of Imperium, I don't know. Hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope they would try at least to like build up a cast of reoccurring side villains, even if those villains don't play major roles anymore. Because I feel like in classic Ninjago they did that a lot with characters like Pythor and like some of the Serpentine. Like you'd see Scales pop up every once in a while, even if he wasn't really in a villain role.
I mean,
Post Rise of the Snakes.
They're doing it. They're doing it like now in this season because they have the best character, Dorama.
True.
Oh, and ironically, not memeing, Dorama is cool and he fits exactly that bill. You have this season about this fascist like realm and oppressing dragons and draining their power, and the merge and dimensions are melding into each other. Everyone's lost. Everything's going wrong. And you have this guy, he's just a magician who likes showmanship and he wants to be on stage, and he, I don't know, sure, he can manipulate energy and suck power out of Prime Empire rats, but like he has this whole trap dungeon in his place and this giant puppet marionette machine, but that's actually an automaton. Like he's the cool character.
Wow.
I loved it. He was a highlight for me. Super chat from Chonky 199. Thanks for drawing Ryu. I can rest in peace now. Please don't rest in peace. We like having you here, and thank you for the consistent support. And then Superfan Go. All right, get this, guys. Hold up, listen up. It's $5. Sora could always have an arc where she loses her powers and needs to regain them. You know what? I'm down. That sounds fun. I think that's really good. That's a good use of.
It's never been done before. That could be a really good, like, interesting.
Yeah, that's really breaking new ground there.
Exactly. Oh, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
So talked about Arin, talked about Sora, Wyldfyre, Euphrasia. She's in this season too. Admittedly, a more minor role, but we do have a fourth elemental master that I hope we will see again from the Cloud Kingdom, which that's a whole mess to get into, but we'll get into that next section, I think. Euphrasia's cool. I don't think the episode necessarily did a great job of giving her any like defined standout personality necessarily.
No, I don't think
but I'd like to see her
really
again.
Something they tried to do.
No, she was a more low key kind of a character.
Yeah.
And I think for what she was, she did fine. I would like to see more of her, so she's not like unlikable. She's also voiced by Eris from Chima. I believe her name's Bethany Brown, and she has a very distinctive voice. So it's cool seeing that the Chima people are back, and it also fuels my conspiracy theory that we're gonna get a Chima continuation through Ninjago Dragons Rising. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else. I didn't want to not mention her. You know, she does exist.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it a bit on the React. There are some implications with her like having Moro's wind power, which kind of contradicts Splinter of the Blind Man's Eye, because there's a different character using wind powers, at least for a little bit.
What a shame. The admittedly not canon stories, not canon. Wah, wah, wah. I totally regret not reading it now.
Wow.
No, just I like a little bit more canon with my canon.
Fair. But yeah, I think her story was very fun. With the fight sequence was really cool, where they fight the big monster with her like using the wind and then them doing spinjitzu and all that. That was really cool. There was this whole plot about her being maybe thrown out of the Cloud Kingdom for using her powers, but that just didn't happen. They were very nice and accepting about it.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad about. It was a pleasant
Yeah.
subversion. I didn't really have any interest in seeing that plot line.
Yeah, same. I think it was like also it was kind of like a character arc for the monk character where it was like, oh, now the merge changed things, we might have to do things differently now. Maybe that means having an elemental master here.
Yeah.
I liked her story generally for what we got, even though it wasn't that much with her.
Ethan Maloney in the YouTube chat. Oh yeah, wait a second. The Departed Realm can't have merged because Moro would have reclaimed his powers. Is that how it would work? Or would it just move on?
Well,
naturally?
I don't think so. Okay, here's the theory. So when Moro comes back in Day of the Departed as a reanimated puppet with a Departed Realm ghost, he has his powers, right, Josh? Do you remember? I think he has.
I don't
powers,
remember.
Right? But even
Let's just say yes.
Yeah, let's say yes, because that makes it harder. That means the powers were still not used at the time, which lines up with what they say because she says she got them after the merge. So if Moro comes back now, I would assume he would not have his powers because now they moved on.
Interesting.
But
and then
we don't know.
Monarb in the patron chat, the person in Splinter was never the master. I think she just wanted to be the master of Wind.
Well, they say that she wants to wish for to reach her true potential, but she already can use Wind. But that's what it says in that chapter, I think.
Also, rest in peace to all the
powers there.
Rest in peace to all the ancient theories of people wanting Nelson to be the Master of Wind.
Okay. So this isn't really like a con. It's just like a thing I noticed that's a bit of a shame. It is a shame that Nelson is not around. I'm hopeful he will be in the future.
Will be.
I'm like dreading his reappearance and that they'll like give him short legs still.
No.
Like, and for all, like, I'm down for new characters. I like new characters. I want new characters, please. But it is kind of a shame that like the one character that was actually consistently set up and brought back as the ninja super fan that was like an honorary ninja that wanted to join the main ninja one day has basically been replaced by a guy with a grappling hook.
Yeah,
and
that's true. There are a lot of similarities between the characters. I didn't even.
I love Arin. Don't get me wrong. It's just I kind of wish Nelson could achieve his rightful spot as the purple ninja.
And now he can never be the Master of Wind. So sad.
No.
But maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Got a very generous $10 super chat from the extra crispy Colonel. Amazing. Which I will read in a country accent. It's funny. He says, Ras'es really seems to be shaping up to be a real Makuta / Sosuke Aizen type character. What do y'all think his plan they referenced will end up being? That was my amazing country accent. You're welcome.
Take revenge on Chima for...
Okay.
We will use the Dragon Orb to chi up.
Is it time to talk about Ras'es?
Yes.
We gotta talk about Ras'es. Ras'es from Chima sweep.
Please.
Can I do another poll?
I want it so bad.
Yes. Okay. Another poll. Last NinjagoCast, we did a poll where we were like, do you think Ras'es is from Chima? Now that we've actually seen the season and we have seen his role, we know he's like an outlander, which means he's not natively from Imperium. He could be from anywhere. We need poll 2. What, like, updated? Do you think Ras'es is from Chima? Yes or no? Vote now.
Also, okay, so there are a couple of things in favor. First of all, he's a tiger guy, is what they say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they call.
There are tigers in Chima. They look a bit different, though.
Well, you know, merge. No.
Yeah. And also, in the first episode, Sora is like, who's that guy? meaning there are no people like that in Imperium before the merge, right?
That is the
Right.
implication, and I mean
That
that would
would
also be you can infer that from Outlander.
Yeah, well, there could be like different nations in the realm of Imperium, right?
Theoretically, yes.
True.
Mhm.
I guess.
So, and then of course Beatrix calling him an outlander, outsider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm referring to. So here's the thing, and it's kind of what I said in the last episode, but it's still true. I think it would just be weird. Like, here's the thing. Let's just all be honest with ourselves. Chima's not great. Like I know I don't want to be too insulting to it. We have the Chima superfan Stephen Villman in the YouTube chat, which it's really cool to still see you around so many years later. Thank you so much for continuing to check out our content. So Chima has fans. People like Chima. But it's not the best thing in the world. It has flaws. A lot of us aren't really super big into it. But it is, canon that it is a realm. They used the realm crystal to fall through to Chima. Factually, I know it was a gag. It was like a bit, but it still happened. We watched it. It didn't happen in a Twitter story. It didn't happen in a Lego product commercial. It happened in the show.
I mean, there's also the whole thing with Chima beavers. They doubled down on it.
You're right. I forgot about that completely. So I don't think it should just be ignored because it's not popular.
Yeah.
It is a part of the show. And I think that if you suddenly have a bunch of animal people randomly popping up, like snails and tigers and frogs and all this stuff, I think that you should totally mention it. You should just say it. It's a cool throwback.
The way to do it is like, for example, we had the little reference where they go something from the realm of Lee, even though we've never heard about the realm of Lee before, right? And that's just like some mini world building they can throw into a bit of dialogue. And they have so many different animal people in this season, with like Mr. Frohiki and the baker guy and now Ras'es. It would be very easy for them to just mention, they're from the realm of Chima. And also with like the way Chima ends, it's very easy setup for there to be a whole bunch of other animal tribes we've never seen. So they don't have to bring in Laval and Eris and Krager, but they could very easily reference like the existence of the realm of Chima and it being merged to the rest.
It's not like Chima didn't have interesting concepts. Like,
oh no, there's a lot.
What
Chima
is
had
the
great world building?
And I mean, they could totally integrate that if they wanted to. Why couldn't like Mount Kavora be part of the merge now? Why not introduce Chi like into the world? Like, there's no reason not to, other than the drug meme. But like, it could be interesting. It could not be, but it could be. There's no reason to actively like avoid it like it's the plague. And I think that, there is a good point raised by Sharnak, who's like, I think it's the writer's intention that Chima won't be name dropped in the show. New kids don't know what Chima is. That's fair. I can definitely understand not wanting to make it a prime like selling point.
They should never expect people to know too much about Chima. I think because that's like, how long ago is Chima now?
A long time.
5-6 years, something like that, right?
Way longer than that, I believe. It is my belief that Chima wrapped up in like 2014, 2015.
Okay. It's almost 10 years then.
It ended in 2014.
So I don't think they should ever have you expect to know Chima. But if they, like, that's kind of what I was trying to say with the realm of Lee. If they ever just said, like, they come from the realm Chima, that I think that would be fine.
Nope, nobody would bat an eye.
Yeah. They could also introduce it as like a new place, like through the characters of the show. Because like obviously
like the realm of madness.
Yeah, like,
I will say
literally any realm that they would ever go to. Like just like introduce it as a new place without needing the knowledge of anything previously.
Okay, I don't expect this to happen at all, but fun fact, in the set description for the Temple of the Dragon Energy course, it says it's in the World Forest and there's a magical tree. What realm has a giant forest?
Oh no.
It's a Chima set.
Chima set. Yeah. I just think it makes sense. It makes way more sense than to avoid doing anything with Chima, but have a bunch of animal people come from somewhere else. Like that's just weird to me. I guess there's no rule saying there can't be two realms.
No, I mean
animal
we already
people,
have
but
the
like,
Never realm, right?
it just seems redundant to me to go out of your way to sidestep Chima like it's poisonous. You know, just do something with it. It has interesting ideas. And I also think what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh, it's not like Lego hasn't integrated characters from other Lego franchises into Ninjago before, i.e. Ultra Agents. Admittedly, that was just the designs, not the actual like lore of Ultra Agents.
Clutch
But
Powers is another example.
Clutch Powers as well. It's not like there's some rule against it, even if products aren't being sold, you know? So while I doubt they would want to make the assets for any of the Chima characters, they could. There's no reason why they necessarily couldn't.
They made characters like Mr. Freaky, who's not in any of the sets, and he's like an animal guy. So why wouldn't like they could do like a Chima lion
or the disgusting epic snail character? What's that guy's name?
Oh, I don't remember.
What was his name? There's a lot of weird names on this.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody knows. Oh no, it's Grabbarg.
Grabbarg. Yeah,
I love Grabbarg. Shows up, is a snail, enters baking contest, effortlessly wins, walks away. Great character. I love him. I want a whole season about Grabbarg. 2 super chats. Another one from Chonky. Wait, no, actually, no. 3 super chats. Monarb, $5. What if there is a new elemental master from Chima? Also, Laval totally made the snail and frog tribes and somehow caused the merge. No, I agree.
Yeah, it's
Master of Chi.
Elemental master from Chima. I mean, I'm down. Genuinely. I think it'd be cool if one of the like new main characters wasn't a human.
They should make Laval
the main character isn't a
just
human.
for the irony.
Well, yeah, Ryu, right, Josh?
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, I mean, I'd be down with that by all means. Chonky, $2. All hail Lord Ras'es. Ras'es is cool. The Magic Ninja 6195, $5. I do believe that Ras'es is a tiger, as he does have tiger stripes and ears.
Yeah, they do say he's a tiger a lot, so I assume that's correct and not just the character speculating.
There you go.
But yeah.
And there was a YouTube comment from Bartholomew Ugwu. It says, "Hey, keep the peace. What if Jurassic World merged with Ninjago?" To me, I would love that because I love dinosaurs and Lego Ninjago. That'd be epic. Then we could get Chris Pratt as part of the ninja team. And I think that would be hilarious.
He's the elemental master of Raptor.
What if the Lego Ninjago movie realm is a realm? And you have the characters meet themselves.
But fun fact, there are dinosaurs in Ninjago.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are dinosaurs in the Ninjago History Museum.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
It all comes together.
When's the dinosaur season of Ninjago?
Season 1.
Exactly.
Season 2, sorry.
What's called?
The Grundle.
The Grundle, yeah.
You're right.
I mean, but they're also like they just look exactly like the Lego dinosaurs and they stand around in the Ninjago Museum.
Ski Storm. What if 2 people from different realms got merged into one? Deleted the comment. Well, he's just saying, like, what if they got merged into one person because they were in the same spot? It's possible. Like, I don't know. I think one person would just get like overwritten, or like they both would get sucked up and then redistributed kind of randomly into the world.
I mean, they say the merge quakes is like when two places kind of try to be in the same space, right?
Yeah.
So probably would be like a portal there and would suck one purple in it, and the other person would be where it was before. I don't know.
Yeah, and the realm stuff, I think this might be a good opportunity to kind of transition into the
but
world.
There's some raw stuff still, though.
Oh,
we didn't
yeah,
really,
right.
we didn't actually answer the super chat.
You're
Oh,
right.
What his plan is.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Yup.
So
His plan, he seems to be like the more strategic character, while Beatrix is more like selfish. And he seems to have like the bigger picture in mind.
But what is
He has some
that?
purpose for the source dragons too. He's like, if we catch another source dragon, we can finally do something or something like that. But yeah, he seems to be the more intelligent character. But I don't really know what his plan's gonna be. Don't have any theories right now.
I have no theories either, just because I feel like they're playing very fast and loose with the source dragons right now, as far as like what they are. So I don't feel like I have enough evidence to go off of.
In one of the, was it a press release or something like that? They mentioned that like the source dragons are kind of like necessary to basically create or control the merge. You know what I mean? Like it's like kind of up to them how the merge is gonna continue. And maybe Ras'es has like some plan with that, with basically like maybe expanding Imperium via the merge or something like that. But yeah,
I was thinking that he was kind of using them for his like own gain. Like he was kind of working with Imperium because they're like the best option, like for progress
to actually
or whatever.
Hunt the dragons.
Yeah,
but he has like his own like own motivations.
What, like, I'm trying to, because I'm so on the Ras'es from Chima train. I'm trying to think like what from Chima could be like relevant to this somehow.
He just wants like,
but I don't know. Like maybe it's as simple as just like he wants Mount Kavora and the Chi to be like integrated into the realm, and to do that he needs to have control over like
maybe
how the merge works.
He's just lost and he wants to go back to Chima.
Or he wants to bring Chima here, and
yeah,
he has to shape the merge to actually make that happen. So he has to get a bunch of source dragon power under his control. I'm gonna be so upset if he isn't from Chima. Like, I can't imagine what else. Like, just we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Curly Jr. asking everyone here, why do you personally think Ras'es is working for Imperium? That's really all I think it is. I just think he showed up. He wants the source dragons for his own purposes that we don't know. And so he sought out people who are experienced in catching dragons.
Yeah.
So,
well, it did seem, I don't know if he's that. I do think he's kind of like not just in it for his own gain. At least it seemed like that to me. Because when he was talking to Beatrix, he was like, no, don't think about the ninja, don't think about the greater picture and stuff like that. So it seemed like he has an ideological motivation to help Imperium to me.
There you go.
But yeah.
Another super chat from Adrolls says $5. I think Arin will have an arc where he declaring war on every other realm. I get that reference.
I think that's the wrong Arin that you're thinking of there. That would be pretty epic, though.
Rumbling. It's coming. All right. Anyway, anime jokes aside. Yeah. I will say, Ras'es is cool. I think another one of my criticisms, I did kind of expect like more from him. And I'm hoping that a lot of it's being saved for the back half.
I think like there's very little I would want changed about the season, but one thing I didn't really like is, and I think episode 9 or 10, when like because Ras'es is super powerful for the whole season. Like he fist fights dragons and beats everyone up. But then like when Arin and Sora without weapons fight him, they kind of like goof about him and make jokes about him, and he's like very easily beat.
This is like my biggest disappointment with the whole season, honestly, is Ras'es like his competence, because I feel like he's set up to be like really cool, and you see glimpses of like him being like really cool, but he has to be like downgraded so that Arin and Sora's story could like advance. Because I know why they did that.
Like, trounce the bad guy.
Yeah, like I know why they did that, because they were like, oh, we couldn't even do anything to this guy at the start, but now we've like grown so much and we can take we can take him out. But the fight was so like one-sided and so underwhelming.
To be fair with them, it's like they specifically like mention that they learned from the training with Lloyd, and then when they finally beat him, it's just because like Ryu gives his power to Sora and she uses that. But beforehand, they like while they fight him, it doesn't seem like super serious because they make jokes and stuff.
Yeah,
so it's like,
I think that's like the most missed potential when it comes to like a scene in these first 10 episodes. Is just that could have been a really cool fight, but they play it off for comedy. And also the solution is Sora getting powers from Ryu instead of not relying on that, so it also doesn't feel completely satisfying. So it's like, yeah, and it comes at the cost of me not being able to take Ras'es seriously in that moment. And even by the end, like I think that scene kind of tarnished my respect for Ras'es as a competent villain.
Because beforehand it was always like, oh, Raptor messes everything up, and then Ras'es comes in and cleans up his mess.
But you can't have that scene with Raptor either. Because they always beat up Raptor and it wouldn't get the same point across. I think they could have still done that, just like have the fight be like an actual proper fight that's more like it's more back and forth, and have them get the upper hand.
Have one of the ninja come in and help them out towards the end or something like that, where like still Sora maybe gives him the finishing blow, but like the ninja help out or something. Like
show that they've made progress. Because I think having a scene like that's really important, especially that was in like the final episode, I believe.
Yeah.
If it was in the finale, like just showing the progress of the two main leads by the end. But I think the way they did it kind of just harmed the season more than it helped it. I would say that's like my one main like issue with the season. If I just say like one thing that I just really did not care for.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a shame. I would have liked for it. There's a comment from Zero Jump. It says, no more over-the-top wild brain action. There only was one insane action moment. I don't agree.
I disagree.
I think in the in episode 2, Lloyd on the train, I think, was a really good standout. I think the battle at the Cloud Kingdom was a really strong standout. I think that basically all of the last 3 episodes counts, like Wyldfyre, any scene she had. And then there was one specific moment which was big wild brain energy that had like Wyldfyre and her dragon just going nuts on a
so good.
Yeah, I think the difference is a bit that there wasn't a lot of like one-on-one combat. There was more like the cool action scenes. A lot of them were like big group battles with like the dragons versus the Photax, or all like the ninja and Euphrasia and Arin and Sora versus those big monsters in Cloud Kingdom. But that was a really cool fight choreography.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff. I think you just kind of have to look for it more, because not everything's in the forefront. Like if you look in the background of a lot of shots, you'll see like Lloyd will be like up close, like on that train fight. Lloyd will be up close, like with a sword, like having banter, and you'll see Arin in the background, like doing some really cool stuff. And just everything with Arin too. I think it's like I think
grappling hook.
We take for granted how cool the grappling hook is. Just like swinging around this, like the aerial animation when he's like in the air, like flailing around, looks like really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's such a creative fighting style that we don't really see often. Everything with like Wyldfyre was really well done. Pretty much any fight scene Lloyd had, like Lloyd's coolness factor was like cranked up to 11. You saw him doing like cool sword tricks and using spinjitzu to like slice up enemies in like a row. Like Lloyd was popping off.
Yeah.
I
think it was very good. I think that it's gonna take a bit for us to see Arin and Sora kind of get to that level of like cool action that we used to have, because obviously they're new, and then also they haven't like figured out their own distinct like fighting style yet. Arin has his grappling hook, which is really cool, but like, you know, Sora, I'm curious how they're going to use her powers in the future in like creative, actiony ways. Because if it's just she throws like rubble at people, I'll probably get sick of that real quick.
She should do like technology hopping, like Nya did the water hopping.
Yeah.
She like crafts platforms below her feet.
Why not? It'd be great. I'm trying to think what else. Let's talk about. We're still on characters, but that's fine. We're progressing at a reasonable pace. We've talked about some world stuff and Imperium, so we're getting through everything, just not in an orderly way. But that's fine. Let's talk about our actual ninja that we know, because they were in this season.
Yay!
They did show up.
They did. Yeah. Well, not all of them, but that's okay.
Josh, I want to get your opinion. Were you happy with how the old ninja were used?
Yeah, I think that being used sparingly was a good like, you know, it's a can't really mess up the characters if they're not in the show, you know.
That's messed up.
Yikes.
You're not wrong. I love it. Yeah, I mean, my biggest point of skepticism was Lloyd, and I know me and Bindo are very much on the same page with that. But I really liked Lloyd. I think he was, dare I say, in peak Lloyd mode. Maybe with the exception of Sons of Garmadon. That was really good.
It's incredibly satisfying to see Lloyd in the position that he should have been from like season 8.
Right?
Season 7.
It's like Sons of Garmadon began the ever-growing detour of Lloyd's character to the point where he literally got character assassinated at the final hour, and now he's like Sensei Lloyd, and it's like so fun.
I will always defend that Sons of Garmadon and Hunted didn't actually detour Lloyd, because Hunted had the whole plot about him becoming a leader, but then after that, when he actually detoured.
Yeah, okay. I can see
I've come around on it over time, because I used to be very critical of that, but I get the logic there.
I love Sons of Garmadon and Hunted Lloyd like during those seasons, but I do feel like it kind of like it took what Hands of Time was trying to set up and just kind of swatted it away.
Yeah.
But
he was just good. He was in like peak Lloyd mode. He was serious when he needs to be, funny when he needs to be, trying to like be a master but not really knowing how to do it, and just trying to like emulate Wu. It was consistently entertaining, had really good dialogue, and a lot of good emotional moments too, especially nearing the latter half with his flashback, even though that had some art style controversies.
Can I talk about that real quick?
By all means.
I think a lot of people are complaining because the flashback uses the legacy designs. I think there is a perfectly reasonable example to make that work.
Yeah, there's just a merge in it. No, I'm kidding.
No, remember the legacy shorts?
Oh no, are those canon?
Yes, they are.
But
the explanation for the legacy shorts design variations were, all of these are like memories or the ninja record thing, and that's not always like 100% how it looked back then. And I think it's just the same applies for this scene.
This is my thing with it, is that it bothers me, and it really shouldn't, but it does, because first the whole like they didn't get Julie Michaels back, which is like okay, fine.
Yeah,
sure. It would have been really nice. They've done it in the past, but I could understand if it's a budget thing.
And once again, if you think in the way that it's the way Lloyd recalls that interaction, he might not like
but with the
think that his
suit,
voice was like a kid.
I don't think it's a budget thing because either way, they had to get the legacy suit for Wildbrain
Yes.
because they've never used it. So either
No,
they had to get the because they've never used it in Wildbrain, correct?
No.
The legacy suits.
The legacy suit?
No.
I don't think so. No.
Wait.
So either way, they had to get a new suit model.
Right.
Yes.
So and both are retired too.
No.
So both
this
the
one isn't retired.
legacy suits aren't retired.
You can still buy Ninjago City Gardens, and that comes with that exact version of Lloyd.
Okay, so maybe not then, because I was gonna say legacy suit. If legacy suit was retired, then so is the Rise of the Snake suit. So then, like, that's not a thing either. But I guess if they wanted to be like, oh well, we want to use a suit that's still on store shelves technically.
Yeah.
With like the whole bounty set and everything, and the
I also
gardens,
think, like,
then
for
they'd
example,
use that.
If you're a young fan who only started watching in Dragons Rising, you wouldn't I think it might be a problem to recognize Lloyd in his old design without the green eyes and his old face print, basically.
I don't actually mind the face print, honestly. It's the suit.
Yeah, but I think that's why they just like probably went for
I get it. I understand. And it's like a superficial thing. Like it shouldn't bother me, but it just does. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's always gonna like annoy me as someone who like just loves the continuity.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. I can't really get too upset about it.
Can I talk about my favorite scene? Possibly from the entire season.
Like
It's
for
the
real?
scene
Or...
with it's the scene. I'm being serious.
Okay.
I think
Lloyd beard.
if I had to choose my favorite scene from the season, it would be Lloyd beard.
Yeah. I think that
I'm not
scene
joking.
just like immediately sold me on their dynamic.
It just made me happy because it wasn't all a joke. It kept the emotional like core, which is like Lloyd misses Wu and is trying to like live up to his legacy. But it was also just a very endearing like joke. And you had the beard bit, the tea, bird, and he's like so confident about it.
Yeah.
You must complete the course before I finish my tea. I burned the tea. Oh man. Oh jeez. Actual comedy gold. I love it.
I really did like what they did with Lloyd, because it still confuses me whether or not Wu's actually gone for good or not. They don't really make that clear. But I do really enjoy I do enjoy how we see Lloyd kind of like grappling with that, but in a more comedic way. I do wish they did a bit more serious moments with that, just so that we could have like the flashback kind of feel more worth it.
The more serious version of that was the flashback scene, and then like later on when he sees the weirdly looking golden spirit,
it's just like
a scene where he recalls that lesson, and then like when there's no peace outside, you have to find the peace within, and then he like figures out the plan what to do now.
Which was really cool.
He takes that leadership role.
It's just by that point, it's like they introduce the flashback and do that scene within like the same episode. And before that, we get like the funny gags about Wu being gone, but we never really get a moment. Funny.
Also, in that same episode, there's the scene with the kids, and they're like, "Oh, you look like Master Wu," which is kind of like, I guess, playing on.
I mean, that was a serious scene. Now. He was like missing everybody, and he was trying to like you could view that scene as like being surrounded by like the reminders of like the mantle that he's having to take up. And even then before that, with him like doubtful that he could take Arin and Sora under like his tutelage, and he was like, I'm not sure I can do this. You know, I'm not sure I can live up to that legacy.
Right.
I think there was a narrative through line. I maybe would have enjoyed like one more scene, but
I think there was definitely a narrative through line. I would have liked to see more of that. But I mean, I completely understand, especially because Lloyd isn't like one of the main. I mean, technically he's one of like the 3 main leads for the season, but he's not as like in the spotlight as Arin and Sora are. So I understand.
On the comedy side, I did really like all the like callbacks to like, were we this bad when we were students? Oh yeah, we definitely were.
Dude, I loved again in the beard scene. I think Sora's like, how many times are you gonna have to navigate through like a complex obstacle course.
Oh yeah.
It happens more often than you think. It happened like immediately.
Yeah. The same with like how many meetings usually end up being traps? Oh, like half of it, maybe 2/3.
It was good stuff.
Yeah.
And it helps that there was a big time skip, so I can kind of buy the fact that Lloyd had some personal growth between seasons.
Dude, that time skip is more meaty than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's like
it has
at
to be
least
at
3 years.
a few
right?
years, yes.
So
because
that's
Aaron and Sora,
a bit of a point of discussion because the Lego website there's a page that says it's 1 year. But
Yeah, they're
that
wrong.
makes no sense.
That can't be right.
Yeah, they can't. It should be at least like 2 or 3 years.
because Arin and Sora are notably older, like a
Yes.
lot older, and have had time to like form a close like bond.
And like
And there were
enough for like
multiple carnivals.
enough for
Yes.
like the Crossroads to have like a solidified like culture and all that kind of stuff.
At
around
least
it.
2 years, but probably more.
Yeah.
So that was wild to me, but I appreciated it. It kind of ties into another one of my very small, I'm really reaching here for things to criticisms, which is if the ninja have been apart for years, they didn't really act like it. They were very like muted in their display of seeing
They
their
hugged and
friends
stuff.
again.
But
Oh, yeah, they hugged and
I
stuff.
mean, I find it kind of odd that like they never bring up Cole for one, like not a single time. And
it's
the
a day
only
of the
time they
departed
bring up,
reference. They all forgot.
they don't bring up Zane before he comes back either, right? Like he just kind of appears, and they're just like, "Oh, hi, Zane," and then they just
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
continue.
Yeah.
And
This-
then Jay gets brought up once by Nya, which I thought was really fitting. So that was nice. But
Yeah.
it-
I mean, Kai and Lloyd already met. So
yeah, Kai and Lloyd already met, which I thought was really, really nice to see as well. Like that was
Yeah.
like the one moment of like meeting Kai and then also meeting Nya. I think those were like the two best moments for character comebacks. I think Zane was kind of like, it's really cool how they brought him back.
It was cool
But
visually.
they've yet to like
but-
capitalize on it yet, and I hope they do that in like the next set of episodes. But
I got stuff to say about Zane.
it is
but
it is the whole Zane thing. Like Zane, I feel like Kai and Nya had like I feel like their personalities were definitely shown through a lot, and maybe a tad exaggerated,
Yeah.
but in a good way, in my opinion.
I think I
Zane
said
comes
this
back
in-
and is just kind of like not really much of a character.
Yeah, Zane's back to
Yeah.
just being the robot, sadly.
wow.
Which I mean, it's been like that for quite a while now. It's not really anything
Curly
specifically
Junior in
bad.
the YouTube chat, their reaction to seeing Zane for the first time is, "Oh, Zane, you're here!" Turns back to fight it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not really. They like they talk to Zane about the weird monastery tunnels and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
It's like
Zane-
immediately to plot stuff. It's like
yeah, Zane's
Oh, you're
Zane's once
back.
again the info dump character.
yeah, it's
But it's also like he really shows up only in like episode 9 and 10, right? I think episode
Yes.
8 is when he like is the ending scene is basically him coming back, right?
right.
Um,
He showed up very much like at the end.
Yeah, and then that's where already the final battle's going on, so I get
Yeah.
why they didn't really have time to do that.
I get
much
it.
with
I
Zane.
hope the next few episodes kind of helps out in that regard. But on the other hand, they managed to make me incredibly excited to see Nya again,
Yeah.
which is like, that's like super impressive considering.
Nia's character archetype, I feel, is back to being like very snarky.
Yeah,
very, like,
she's
sassy.
very
Also-
entertaining.
when Kai like first comes back to like the rock monster village, that scene was so funny.
Yeah.
with Nya.
I think if I had to gripe about Kai, it would only be like his like incompetence is played too much for laughs, which
Yeah.
is funny, but is a bit too much like, okay, this is Kai's character these days.
I mean, yeah, it ties into like
But-
the whole discussion, like why we did this whole reboot in the first place. The ninja have like
Exactly.
no direction, and I mean, like that problem hasn't magically gone away. Zane is
No.
the robot, Kai is the stupid one.
But at this point, it's like it's a
Hot-headed.
nitpick at this point because they don't focus on it at all, really. So it's like
yeah. mean,
They're
there are
not part of the
some-
main team. They're not part of like the main story. They're kind of just there for jokes, and I think that's fine
Yeah.
as
For now.
long
I
as like the
also
main
think-
characters are doing what they need to do, which they are. So it
I
works
said
out.
this, I think, in the React. I feel like Kai, while he was pretty much the same character he's been for a while now, I did find him a lot more entertaining in Dragons Rising. The jokes really landed well. I liked the dynamic with Wyldfyre and him being like super, I guess, jealous with her also having fire powers and all that. I
Yeah.
think.
Like he gets funny bits to do, so it's
Yeah.
not like a complete loss. Like they took these characters that really didn't have much to do with them, but they at least gave them personalities that are distinct again.
I'll do some super chat catch up. Chonky 199. Golden Gamer Woo, very rare. Skull emoji, limited time only. Thank
Wow.
you so much for all your support today, Chonky. And Magic Ninja 6195, $5. Thank you. I'd like to see how else Arin tries to use his grappling hook / Kaginawa, especially the many ways real ninja used it, from tying up to even a weapon. And that's a very good point. I
Yeah.
would imagine like we got a lot of good usage of it already, and I hope we get more. It's a very like unique weapon style. And then there was a YouTube comment from Ski Storm. Keep the peace. What if some dragons drank Chima special water and become humanoid dragons? That's what I mean. That's an interesting application of Chima world building lore. There could be a source dragon that's just like a minifigure for all
The
we
Dragon
know.
Legend Beast.
Yes. Oh no, the
Good
Blood
one.
Race was like, they were the ones that didn't drink the water.
Yeah, so all the dragons
Yeah.
would be legend beasts then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool idea they could do using pre-established Chima lore. I would be totally down for that. That'd be fun.
I don't think they'll do anything like that, because for that you'd have to know too much about Chima, which I don't think they expect people to.
New
But-
realm concepts. They taught the
But-
mud from the realm of
Yeah.
madness. They could teach Chi.
They can reintroduce
True.
things.
I was actually really surprised how much they did with the Realm of Madness stuff. Because that's like a 1-episode thing from season 1.
Is there an explanation as to how it gave Garmadon forearms ever, or is that still like
No.
a speculation thing?
We don't know.
Okay. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
expect them to answer that. I was just curious.
So I want to do another poll. So we're gonna end the Roz poll officially, even though it's gonna stop for a while. It ended with 82% of people that think he is from Chima, 18% that don't. I hope you're right. 82%. Fingers crossed. So I want to do another poll.
Let's go. What's the
And
poll?
I want to talk. I want to move into a discussion about Wu and Zane and about whatever the heck happened at the ending there. So I want the poll to be: is Wu dead, or will he return? So I guess we should phrase it like, will Wu return? Yes or
Okay.
no?
I mean,
I hope not.
I
But
think, unfortunately, I think it's almost a certainty that he will return.
he has a minifigure.
Yeah.
wait,
he's-
not
he's not
really,
dead.
right?
I mean, no, but
You mean
not
the
like
dead.
bounty?
And the bounty, but it's not a new one.
I know, but
Yeah,
like
it's the-
it hasn't appeared in the show.
True.
But
Well,
I
that
mean,
could
it
be
has
like-
in the flashback. And
Oh, was
used
that?
that
I
design?
wasn't paying attention to what he was wearing in the flashback.
It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The core design in the
That makes
flashback,
sense,
and
then.
they reused that. They didn't really have a new minifigure. I've heard some people speculate that the spirit of the temple
Is Wu.
might be Wu.
That'd be interesting, actually.
I would like for Wu to be dead because I feel they're doing an interesting thing with him. Maybe he's like ascended to the astral plane. Yeah, he
Mhm.
can still pop in from time to time, but like not as just himself. But I'm resigned to the fact he probably will return to the physical world.
They do very clearly say when Kai hears the ghost under the monastery that he and Kai both say he sounds like Wu, and the subtitles even say Wu.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
mean it definitely is Wu.
Yeah, so that definitely is Wu. The question is just if he's like gonna be a physical character or just
I
like a
think it's
spirit.
he will probably return. which is fine. I don't think it could ruin things. I'm expecting that now, so I'm not disappointed later. I've said all along, he doesn't have to die for this whole thing to work. He has to not be in his role anymore. And I think him coming back only to be like, and Lloyd's like, oh, you can teach us all more, master. And he's like, no, I'm not needed anymore. And he goes off to like live on a beach with Misako forever. Like, that's fine.
He finally gets his tea shop back from Ronin.
Yes.
I also forgot he technically did appear physically
in the flashbacks
at the very start.
Oh yeah.
Before the merge.
That was the outfit.
Yeah.
So I think odds are probably yes, but it could still be handled interestingly.
Yeah.
That ending was weird. It was very weird. I don't necessarily hate it. I don't necessarily like it. I'm reserving judgment until I know more. But the whole like tunnel realm travel subway network connecting like each realm as a monastery.
Yeah, that's also a fun story that we kind of got that from the song release.
Yeah.
That feels good to be a ninja with the 16 monasteries. Okay, so I guess there's 16 of them.
Yeah.
It could be inferred, but it was technically a song spoiler.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. So I guess every realm has a monastery that acts as a travel hub.
Every realm but one, right? Because it's 17. And there's one for Ninjago.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
So
okay, but
maybe
wait.
no departed realm monastery.
Yeah, that's probably the one that it would be.
I would hope not.
So here's the question.
The Chima monastery was destroyed in the Oni attack.
What's the cursed realm monastery?
Oh my goodness. I don't even think of that.
It's
Ramona
now
just
only
is the
like,
monastery.
after the beating the cursed realm got in Kaiju Protocol, it's now ruins.
So I don't know how I feel about that yet. This is kind of like my only real critique with the season that I'd say I feel somewhat strongly about. I think it's an interesting idea they're doing, but it's a little too on the nose for me. Trying to make the concept of monasteries somehow important or intrinsic to the realms. The monastery was just a building. It was just a place that existed and got burned down immediately.
Well, but
unless I'm wrong, to my knowledge, it was
the home of the first Ninjutsu master.
Does that mean it has any properties intrinsic to itself, though?
Not necessarily, but
I mean,
like
even if it is
old.
Even if like that's the case, it's been burned down like 4 times. So is it really even like the original monastery at this point?
It's like a ship of Theseus kind of a thing.
It's clearly not, because they also said like after the merge it changed.
Yeah, we lost the cool murals.
That's true.
Yeah.
How can I cry about my No Day of the Departed mural now?
They were like enough complaining about the mural, which to take it away.
Yeah, I think
you've lost your mural privilege.
So I think that it just reads to me like a very meta thing, like, oh, the monastery was a fan favorite location and we brought it back in March to the Oni to be nostalgic, and it finally got a set, so we then kept it around and it was the new place to be, and now it's been brought back, but it was super popular. What if all the other realms had a monastery too, and monastery this, monastery that? It feels like a very minor thing, really, from Ninjago's past that has now been inflated to this higher degree, and it feels weird to me that a place like Imperium would have something called a monastery, let alone that it comes from an egg underground.
I mean, did it come from the egg? I don't think so, right? I think Zane just activated it. Yeah.
Like, what is up with that?
There's also like the whole Tomb of the First Spinjitzu Master. Like that could have been a perfect
Yeah.
hub.
I was
for
about to
the
say that, like,
realms.
I have no problem with it being the Monastery of Spinjitzu, but there are locations in Ninjago where you think, okay, when you think realm travel, the locations might be a better fit than
Yeah.
the monastery. True.
Like, I just want to remember the actual definition of monastery from, like, I think this is from like Oxford Dictionary or something. A building or buildings occupied by a community of monks living under religious vows.
Yeah.
So I know, like, we're obviously departing from that a little bit, but you could infer, like, okay, you have the wise master teaching like his students about like the history or about special powers. Okay, there's a connection there. But like the Imperium Monastery, what exactly are they doing? The Never Realm Monastery? Do they teach about like Formling lore? I guess they could.
Yeah. And the Cloud Kingdom one applies perfectly.
What's the Realm of Madness Monastery? Do they teach like
learn
the
about
sacred mud?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, but it rubs me a little the wrong way. I need to see how it is fleshed out.
I mean, if it is like a situation where, because Wu clearly, okay, we're probably gonna get into all the merge stuff now anyway,
That's
right?
fine.
Yeah, because
So-
it seems like Wu already knew about the merge happening, and it happened before, I guess. At least it seems that way. And if Wu and the first Spinjitzu Masters are basically the people who lived in the Monastery of Spinjitzu for most of their life, right? So I
Yes.
don't think it's like out of nowhere, right? Like there would be a logical explanation why they have like the point that connects to the other realms there, maybe.
But what about the merge would have made other monasteries sprout up? Or were they always there?
I think they were always in those realms, right? Because the Cloud Kingdom one was under the library, according to Nya. So I don't think that, like, I think that was probably already, that place was, I don't know, was that place always there? It seems like when Kai found the new, that wasn't in the Monastery of Spinjitzu before, right? I don't know.
Peculiar. I guess I'm just wondering, like, would the first Spinjitzu Master have been responsible for like making those monasteries?
I could see that, because we kind of know that he traveled to other realms. He had the realm crystal. He was in the Never Realm. Yeah, so
because I could buy that a bit more if he spent his life doing things instead of just kind of chilling on Ninjago.
I mean, he's like probably super old.
Yeah. I just wonder about the time gap between like the Overlord's defeat and like what the timeline that we know of with like Spinjitzu brothers. You know, like he had to have been doing stuff during that time.
It seems like he was in the Never Realm before Wu and Garmadon were born, right, Josh? Do you know that? Yeah, right? So I assume he did realm traveling and maybe monastery building before Wu and Garmadon were born. And then after that, all the stuff we know about happened.
Chima Monastery, I'm telling you. It's Mount Kavora.
The Lion Temple.
Oh man, the merge was created because the chi stopped flowing.
Oh my god.
Okay, are we gonna get into the merge stuff?
Yeah, we can talk about the merge stuff.
So
what do you want to talk
my wishful thinking theory for why the merge happened is still because the Oni temple blew up, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the way they presented it seems like it happened because Imperium captured that one source dragon under the city. That's what I'm thinking right now, maybe, because like when Lloyd was like, "We have to free you," and he was like, no, that would have like massive consequences and stuff. I think that might be what they're trying to say.
Or could it just be because like of the massive like energy discharge would cause shenaniganry or like destabilization?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I feel like Imperium capturing one dragon would maybe be a little underwhelming for me.
I mean, it's a source dragon.
As to why the multiversal apocalypse would be happening.
But it's a source dragon, Missa.
What does that mean? That
I
means
don't know.
nothing to me. That's just words.
It's the cool big one.
Yes,
Yeah. It's very big and powerful.
It's so big. It's almost like it's the king of all dragons. Poor firstborn. Reduced to irrelevancy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's plausible. How did we feel when all was said and done about the merge and how it was handled? I know you were having some concerns, Josh, about the locations and the map and the world building. Are you feeling okay about things so far?
The map still kind of, I'll have to see what like goes on with that, but I mean, nothing really breaks the lore too much, in my opinion. Like nothing like straight up like besides like, I guess you could say like maybe the dragons, but like I feel like that more adds on to stuff. And a lot of it can be kind of like a lot of it is to me not exactly like a full retcon of, how stuff works.
I agree.
A lot of
I could be wrong, and they could say like, no, actually, like, Firstborn never existed really. That kind of they could really like go.
A lot
like,
of the lore stuff for me is still a bit. It depends on what they do going forward, because there seems to be intentionally some open questions about elemental masters and dragons specifically, and the merge's origin. So depending on what their explanations for that gonna be, that might change my opinions a bit.
Yeah.
Sharnax asking a question that a lot of people have been asking throughout the YouTube chat today. If there are source dragons, are there source Oni?
Oh no.
Maybe.
But
Maybe the
who?
source dragons are like the counterpart to the Oni warlords.
Garmadon is source Oni.
Oh my god.
Garmadon is
Garmadon
not even
gonna
full
appear.
Oni.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I can't wait for Oni Trilogy 2. I can't wait for the Overlord to come back and be revealed to be a source Oni the whole time. And he'll try to, I don't know, merge the realms to find balance or something. It's going to be epic. Chonky says, hey, keep the peace. It was very nice joining today. I have other stuff to finish, but it's been fun. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for listening and for all your support and for weighing into the discussion. I'm glad you enjoyed. Yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot so far. Just talking about the realm and the world building stuff. We covered like the elemental masters, the realm of madness, the cloud kingdom, Imperium, the monastery. I really like the Crossroads.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool hub area, and if it kind of does make me a bit sad that we left it so early.
I'm sure
I
we'll
like it.
return to it.
I hope they come
perhaps.
back to it like they do with Ninjago City, and it's just kind of the new Ninjago City.
I think the Crossroads are like the demonstration of what the merge allows us to do.
That's also
It's
true.
It's a cameo fest. We have the core characters there. We have the Geckles and the Months there. And we have the Merlopians. It's great.
Ooh, fun fact about that: when they show the skeleton mech in the mech race, they say it's an underworld mech. So does that mean those skeletons are from the underworld too?
Yeah,
I think that would make the most
probably.
sense.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
I
Yeah.
do have questions about this though, because the Merlopians and the Geckles and the Months are still in Ninjago. They're from Ninjago.
They're from Ninjago. Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting that they would go away from their original homes to come to the Crossroads.
I mean, I
guess it
think
makes
it's just
sense.
like people being displaced, like Arin's parents.
Yeah, but besides like the new animal people and like the underworld skeletons, you don't really see a lot of other realms.
Well,
do we?
I mean, there's what's Labo is
Yeah,
from
we see
probably from a
Labo.
different realm.
That
Then
is
you
true.
see, then a lot of the humans could be from the Cloud Kingdom or the Never Realm.
It's just interesting to me how they mostly primarily use like for background characters, they use like Serpentine and Prime Empire rats and
I
Yeah.
believe we
stuff
saw one of the
that's, like-
samurai people from the Never Realm.
Yes,
that's
we
pretty
did.
cool. But I do
Um,
welcome it though, because any like background character variety is very, very neat and I
Yeah.
like it a lot. And I already feel like I know more about the Crossroads than I did like Ninjago City because well, Ninjago City was a really cool location. There's a lot of stuff about it in the Crossroads. We get to see like a lot of like specific things. Like we get to see the festival and like the races, like different
I
events.
mean, we have
that
a
happen
lot
there.
for Ninjago City too. Over
Yeah,
the years.
but I do really appreciate how just in this first like few episodes, even with limited screen time, we get to see different events that happen, different festivities that happen there, like how the people live, like different characters that you can interact with there. It's just it feels very lived in
Yeah.
and very established, which I appreciate.
It's super fun. I vibe with it very much. It has a sense of identity, like the one that one person that was like Arin and Sora's like nemesis, who had like the Prime Empire rats. I forget her name, but she was cool. Just randomly hanging out with them. Labo obviously stand out. Everybody loves Labo. We love Labo. I'm trying to think what we haven't discussed. I feel like we're winding down at the 2+ hour mark, but I'm sure there's still some things we haven't discussed.
I mean, we haven't really talked about like the second half stuff that much, right? All the
lampshade floor tiles, amazing.
them
True MVP.
intruding into Imperium and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Like the moment the plot kicked into gear and you had the infiltration plot, I was like, oh, this is gonna be just like a one-off, just kind of a one-off episode where they sneak in. But no, it was just the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And it was cool. But it never felt like it dragged because things kept changing. You had the Photax, Wyldfyre's introduction, Sora, everybody thinking that Sora like betrayed them.
We didn't talk about. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I mean that was like,
yeah. I was just gonna say we did not talk about the Lloyd like sequence at the end where he has like this
The vision.
The vision, yeah.
Yeah,
all
that was
the
really
ninja are
cool
gonna die,
sequence.
guys.
Really cool.
Do you believe
This
it?
time for real.
For real, I swear.
I need them to do something with it. I don't care if it's like I don't think it's gonna come true.
No, I don't think
Like
all
the
the
vision,
ninja are gonna die.
But it's a very interesting thing for Lloyd to see and catch a glimpse of, and I hope him seeing that affects his character in some way. Because if it doesn't, it's gonna feel very wasted. Especially because at the end of the day, if you take that sequence away, realistically, all that happened is that Lloyd got infused with dragon power so he could open a door.
Yeah.
So, I really hope that the whole cool vision sequence plays into Lloyd's character and gives him some interesting struggles to deal with.
I'm sure it will. Like, it doesn't have to come true for it to be impactful. Just look at Marvel. The entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, more or less, happens because Tony Stark was scared because he saw like aliens, and then he had a vision of all the Avengers dead because of aliens, and that's kind of how everything went from there. So fear can be a powerful motivator, and seeing a future like that could do things to Lloyd, and it could get him like thinking about what's going on at the root of all this.
Right.
It could do fun stuff with it.
Maybe cause him to take the merge and the conflicts a bit more seriously moving forward.
Perhaps.
They already teased it a little bit at the very ending where Lloyd is like, I saw things in that vision, not all of it good. So he's definitely thinking about it.
Exactly.
So I'm actually, I think that's the thing I'm most excited to see in the next season is what Lloyd does because of that vision. And maybe if it'll play into his relationship with Arin and Sora, or if it'll, play into like how he deals with Imperium. We will see. But I'm very intrigued. This season does a very good job of setting up questions that I want to see answered, and I feel like that's kind of a rarity for Ninjago. At least in my experiences, I feel like a lot of seasons, like, they give me questions, but
they did
not
that a
necessarily
lot
like,
in the early seasons. I feel like, in like, who's gonna be the Green Ninja?
Yeah.
Who's Samurai X? That's very much
they
like
set up a lot of
old
stuff.
Ninjago.
Yeah, they set up a lot of stuff before. I think it's like a staple of a show like this to really like pull you in with those kinds of things, and I feel like the show's been lacking that for a long time. So it does really make me excited to see what happens next, not just because of like what I think could happen, but because of like the questions that this already presents to me. Like,
I mean, it's because each of the
me
Wild
thinking.
Brain seasons, they pretty much were self-contained, more or less.
Right.
They, except for the Vinge Stone Buyer, which was very obviously planned from the beginning and well established as a well thought out mystery. Right.
Right.
Nothing else
No issues
really
there.
really tied together from season to season.
Yeah.
They were just like concerned with the theme that they were doing, which is fine. But it did make me miss the older days where like, rebooted led into them going to find Zane, which led into the Cursed Realm, which led into, all this, which into Skybound, etc.
The thing about Wild Brain is like when a season ended, it didn't really get me thinking about the next season, except for Seabound's ending. But other than that, like I finished watching like season 11, and I'm like, okay. But it didn't really get me thinking about like what was coming next. I finished Prime Empire.
Oh no, I was hoping for the Zane dealing with the Ice Emperor.
Well, yeah, but I don't think I even had any hope for that when that aired.
I did.
Like
Just
Master of the Mountain, like it didn't. Like it was a great season, great conclusion. It had like the open-ended, like, oh, we're gonna go to another adventure.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, Master of the Mountain. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
they're gonna have another adventure, I guess.
But here it's like they set up so many things to get paid off and to get like answered that I'm like actually really interested to see what happens here. And I feel like
we also have to keep in mind this is still the first half of this season.
True.
Yeah. So it's possible that a lot of what we're hoping gets answered this season, and then the exact same thing is the case. But I hope not, because Dragons Rising isn't the season name, it's the series name. So this story arc will be continuous.
And they've already stated that they want to do like overarching story.
I hope they answer the Elemental Master stuff in this season.
Yes.
Like the Wyldfyre and Sora questions, I guess. I don't necessarily think they have to answer the Vision or all the Source Dragon stuff or the origins of the Merge. I think that could be the long game.
I agree.
I would hope some stuff is long term.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with that. So, what else? Rapton was funny. Giles Penn is a legend.
Yeah.
That's it.
Always great.
Absolutely fantastic. Beatrix. I'm curious what's up with her. Because there's clearly something up with her. And I would like to know more about her, and I'm sure we will.
Yeah. I hope we learn like how she got power. I would really hope that maybe we get like a not necessarily like a full flashback episode, but like flashback parts in an episode similar to like what we got for Sora, maybe for her, or maybe Ras'es, to give like some villain backstories. That would be cool.
I agree. Super chat from Magic Ninja 6195, $5. Thank you. It says, I will say the peace inside thing in episode 9 was my favorite bit, as it was the most ninja thing I've seen in the show. You're absolutely right. It is very ninja-esque. It's great.
I think that sequence was also really cool, the way they shot it, where you see like the dragon battle around Lloyd, and it turns the camera around him. You see like he's kind of overwhelmed by the situation, and then he refocuses after seeing the funny Golden Woo.
Besides funny Golden Woo, that scene was very well done.
Dude, I love funny Golden Woo. I want him back. Oh, another one from Magic Ninja for $5. Thank you. She says, as real life ninja had something for calming down in tight situations. The hand signs you see in media, the Kuji-in/Kujikiri. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Magic Ninja, the ninja expert, which fair enough. that tracks. Well done. And Bartholomew Ugwu, should the Golden Ultra Dragon come back in Dragons Rising? For me, that would be amazing.
If they can tie it into the lore, it would maybe make Crystallized a bit better.
I will say, as much as I cringe at a lot of that stuff, it would be kind of weird if they never used the dragon form again.
I mean, no, sadly. The dragon form was like super specific, right? Because they say like the prophecy of Quanish was like only when the allies come together to unlock the dragon form. So it's like a one-time thing. Which
lovely.
I'm not a fan of.
It
but
is
yeah.
odd. Dragons Rising. But they will probably never use dragon form. Which, I'm not going to complain about it because I don't necessarily need to see dragon form again, but it's funny.
It's funny.
That's a good point. What else? I want to discuss some production value related things since I think we're nearing the end of the story talk. That just being, this is probably the best production value season.
Yes.
It looks gorgeous.
The visuals are amazing.
I think it hits that sweet spot of the Wild Brand animation and the Will Film texture work and detailing. And the expressiveness of the characters is good. The lighting is good. It's I loved it. I was enjoying every single scene.
That shot I posted in the Patreon chat with like Lloyd's powers that looked so cool.
Dude, the effects are so good. Everything is so good.
Particle effects.
I can see if people are a bit disappointed by some of the action scenes, like, oh, we didn't get like a crazy finale action fight, but like I think they're saving
the actual
that.
Finale.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're saving that, and the fights that we did get consistently were like really cool.
Yeah, I'm never going to turn down more epic action, but I liked what we had.
Even down to just like the small fights that we got were like really fun to watch.
Yeah,
like they didn't.
And the lighting and scenery. I think so nice.
The only fight, again, I bring this up again just because I think the only fight that felt underwhelming was the Ras'es fight with Arin and Sora. And
I agree.
think the animation was part of that, but it was mostly from a writing perspective. But other than that, like every single action sequence, there was one that I really liked that I think is really like overlooked is when Arin is running from Imperium and he gets on a hoverboard.
Oh yeah,
he starts zipping around with the grappling hook on the hoverboard. It's such a creative and fun sequence that we've like never seen anything like it in Ninjago, and I just want to see more stuff like that.
Also, the texture effect on Ryu is insane.
Oh yeah.
Ryu. It's Ryu, Sakura.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep messing it up.
I'm gonna keep saying Ryu just to make people upset.
We haven't mentioned Ryu like at all, and that's really because I don't really have too much to say about him.
Yeah, he's kind of just a plot device.
He's cute. He's a mascot. He's a plot device. He's completely inoffensive and is totally chill, but also doesn't really do anything because he's a dragon.
I'm sure
I
he
like
will
him
in the future.
The one scene where they dress him up in the carnival was cute comedy.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll play a bigger role because like Ras'es seems to hint that he's more important than just a regular dragon.
Yeah.
Sathasilis, I probably butchered your name, I'm sorry, is a soundtrack mention. I probably need to rewatch it. I didn't really like, nothing stuck out to me as like this is the best Ninjago music I've ever heard, but everything I heard was good. I might do a music oriented rewatch.
The theme they play whenever, like, I guess it's probably Sora's theme whenever she uses her powers and stuff. It's really cool. They have like for the new characters, the soundtrack is a bit more modern and like, I guess like there's some. It's not just classic like film music.
Right.
And they use a lot of old soundtracks again, like the dragon theme, of course. But I think it's not. I didn't like in Crystallized they use so much old soundtrack, and I think here's a good mix of using old stuff and new stuff. Yeah.
I really like the Imperium theme, especially like when they use it to go into the credits. It's really cool. Just like the whole like synth Ninjago music aesthetic. I don't know why they're always so good at incorporating like electronic music into Ninjago scores whenever they get the chance to. That works with Imperium.
Heck yeah.
Voice acting.
I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Voice
was
acting was
also
really good.
fantastic. I like all the new characters' voices are super good as well.
Everybody was on their A game, I feel.
Ras'es is also really good. He has that like deep growling voice that sometimes in the past in Ninjago has been very hard to understand with some characters. But I think Ras'es' voice is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wyldfyre also I think was a great performance.
Yeah.
What is the bounty rec up to now?
Well, there were 2 this season, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to read out that super chat. I'm sorry, Magic. You already asked that in the super chat. And there was another one I missed as well. Oh no, I'm slipping. Superfan Go, $2 said Wu was warped directly into the departed realm. So true, so real. Epic, as he should be. And then Magic had asked $5. What's the count on the bounty getting wrecked in the show now? In fact, how long did the new bounty last before it got damaged? Not long.
2 episodes.
Well, but it didn't get like damaged too severely, so it's kind of hard how you want to count.
But yeah. I wouldn't count it as like, I don't know. All I know is there was 2 bounty crashes at least because Kai crashed the bounty as well in the Realm of Madness. I'm pretty sure.
I gotta say my hot take to make people mad at me. I need at least one. The new bounty is awful. I think it's the worst one ever made by a country mile, and it's not even close. It literally looks like they're flying a plank of wood. That's all.
I do think like seeing the legacy bounty and the new bounty in like the same season, I do prefer the legacy bounty.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with you, Besso.
R.I.P. legacy bounty.
Gee, you know what I missed? I missed the OG bounty because it had so much cool interior to it. And now when they use a bounty, they don't go in the interior ever.
Yeah, you never see the interior really too much.
There was also something relating to the soundtrack I want to mention. Oh, wait. Magic Ninja, $5. You think the ninja should have insurance on their bounty at this point? I'd say they need about like 8 different plans. 8 different insurance plans maybe would be enough. Possible. But I want to talk about
covered by insurance.
No, they would find some way to weasel out of it. Pesky Ninjago insurance. I want to talk about the intro. Speaking of soundtrack, you have the song "We Rise," which we mentioned, I think, briefly on the last podcast. I really like it. I vibe with it. I jam. It has that like head banging quality. I listen to it unironically, just in my music. I think it's very good. I don't know what they were thinking with that intro.
Yeah, good.
That intro was big miss. Big miss.
I'm very upset about this because I was really when I heard 22-minute episodes, the first thing I thought of was the intro.
This is my biggest problem with the season. I think that's the worst thing about the season is the way they cut the intro song.
You know what's terrible too is that they made such a big point in the Wild Brain intros, like, oh, we have to do a recap, so that's why you don't get like the character intros because we have to use the entire intro for a recap. Now we don't get a recap or character introductions.
Well, I watched the episodes on like a German TV station website because that's how they are like released in Germany, and they have a recap at the beginning.
Which makes sense if they were aired on television, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess on Netflix, if they want to have you binge it, it doesn't make sense to do that.
How is that done, Sakota? Is it the traditional like head like previously on Ninjago?
It's not the head, but it's like I think it's Lloyd's voice, or it's like a character's voice going like previously on Ninjago, and then they show like what happened in the last episode, basically. Then the episode begins, and usually like you have the beginning, and then the intro plays, and the rest of the episode plays, right? Yeah.
Epic. Yeah, it was just depressing. I feel like even if the intro is just like 5 or 10 seconds longer, I think it would help. Because the song is good, it's perfectly like catered to being an intro song, and the visuals are fine too. I would prefer an older style intro, but if we can't have that, I like the visuals fine. It just goes by so quick, and there's not like a lead in to the intro. It just kind of starts, so sometimes it's very abrupt.
And I think the cuts they made to the song are like very noticeable.
Yeah, incredibly jarring.
Yeah,
it's
because the chorus, the full chorus, would work great for it.
Yeah,
you know? But it's unfortunate. I did not vibe. There was only like one episode I think it worked well in, and it was the one with the Lloyd flashback, because it kind of like led into it. There was like a music
and the one with
build up.
the Wyldfyre flashback. I think it worked too.
Yeah,
I think the most jarring instance was when it first appeared in the train fight.
Yeah,
Lloyd goes to swing a sword and then it gets cut off by the intro, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
So this is interesting, and I think this discussion right here, as we kind of like close out today, I think as soon as Josh finishes with his Rapton drawing, I think we'll probably wrap up. I think this is a good place to kind of segue out. These are our biggest complaints. Like, oh, the intro is weird. Monasteries are kind of weird. Ras'es didn't have a good fight scene. These are relatively good.
Yeah, these are small complaints.
After Crystallized, if these are what I'm complaining about, I'm pretty happy about that. Josh, what was your biggest complaint?
Oh, jeez.
Putting you on the spot.
Man, I don't know. I'm just drawing Rapton, man.
That's fine. Not enough Rapton. That's his complaint.
Yeah, there you go. That's my complaint.
I'm just remembering scenes now. I remember the propaganda video of the Rapton.
Yeah. Oh my goodness,
it's so good. It's so funny.
It gave me like Lego movie vibes for some reason.
It did.
They did. I can't gush about the world building enough. I think that's hands down the best part of the season is the world building.
Mm-hmm. I feel like so many is great.
They missed the mark so much for me in a lot of seasons. Not like that it was distracting ever before, because before it's like, oh yeah, Shintaro, oh yeah, Merlopia, oh yeah, all these other places and realms. Like before, I never like would go out of my way to be like, yeah, this is flawed. They didn't really do a good job of world building here. But now after seeing this, I look back and I'm like, yeah, they really did not do a.
You know
like,
what?
We didn't get informed very much about how a lot of these places actually worked and ran, which isn't always necessary.
I think it is. It's a 22-minute episode.
Yeah, but even like
it's a god.
You go back and you see other seasons where they'll visit like random locations. Even at the start of the show, when they first go to Ninjago City, we don't really know anything about the city, like what happens there. It's not until the Great Devourer when we see the people like doing the parade. And I guess you also have like things like the contest, like for the Fang Blade or whatever. But it's like little things like that really help build the world. But this season's like full of them, with Imperium, with Sora's flashback, with just going to the Crossroads, seeing there be a festival, seeing there be races with cash prizes, seeing all the people that interact there, seeing how like we literally learn how Arin and Sora make it, like how Arin has to sell pies and stuff like that. It's just everything's so integrated into the world, and I
forgot about that. I love that Arin's like thing. He just bakes pies.
Yeah.
That's just endearing.
It's like
cool.
What if
many nice little details of the characters in the world.
Yes, the final poll. Let's end the first one. Wu returns 81%.
The poll should be: if Arin does have power, is he gonna be the master of Spinjitzu or the master of pie?
Master of pies.
Do it. It's gonna make the poll. Brilliant. I'm fine with master of pies.
We need once Cole returns, we need to have a scene where Arin bakes him a pie.
I agree. That's like it writes itself.
If that doesn't happen, then 0 out of 10 from me.
I think Cole should be a judge at the next Crossroads Carnival.
Should we speculate how Cole and Jay will return?
I don't know, man.
Or is it even worth it?
It's probably not worth it.
I don't think you will be able to.
Because I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm just thinking like for realms they would be stuck in.
For Zane, I'm still like, okay, why was Zane in that
Zane,
box
I'm still confused. Nya was in the realm of madness, which isn't really character specific to Nya.
No.
Kai
just
merged
came
like on
back.
the bounty for some
Yeah.
reason.
Why the
So
heck?
yeah,
Maybe he
it's not
was,
like you can
like-
really speculate with that.
It's
Why
pretty much
was
just
Zane an
random.
egg?
I think it
Yeah.
would be pretty funny
I
if
have
Zane
no idea.
appeared in the Never Realm.
Well,
Maybe
I mean,
just Zane got knocked out again, and someone put him in
Yeah.
the egg.
that's probably what it is gonna end up being. Imperium just found him and used him as like a power source.
I don't
How
know
many
if
times
it
does
will
that
ever
happen?
be addressed again, but yeah.
Vex
Yeah.
put him in there.
Oh my
Vex.
god.
I mean,
Vex is probably here.
Yeah, he definitely is. I just,
The
we just don't know where
return.
yet. They went to the Never. Okay, so with the pie, is it implied that Arin himself went to the Never Realm to get the berries, or did he buy them from somebody else?
No, I think the
I'd say it's
NetherRealm's
probably
just
a-
here now, right?
Well, I know the Never
Yeah.
Realm's there, but like I'm wondering if he himself went, or
I
if he
bet
bought them
it's
from
the
a vendor
Crossroads.
who was
He
in
just
the Never Realm.
bought it. Yeah. He also
I would
got
assume he
something from
bought
the
it.
realm of Lee, right? Some
Yeah.
Yeah,
leaf or
so I'd
something.
assume there's like
Leaf.
that's really interesting about the Crossroads too. Another cool world building thing is vendors from different realms selling realm specific things
I
at the
hope there's a
at the
chi dealer.
Crossroads. The back alley chi dealer.
World of Cars, entertainment thoughts on the new Master of Air, Euphrasia, I think is her name. We briefly gave our thoughts earlier. The general feeling is we don't really have many thoughts. She was
But
cool, but she's
good.
kind of like too early to really get a read on her. But I did like what she had to do. I hope we see more of her. Bye, Sathasilas.
I like the premise of having like masters from different realms now. That adds some variety.
I think it'd be fun to have a Chima master. I'm just saying. I hate Chima. I want to make that abundantly clear. I think people might get it misconstrued that I'm like a Chima
Nah, you're the
fan.
biggest Chima fan.
I'm not a Chima fan. I hate Chima. But like, I don't know.
You don't have to
Nothing.
lie. Come on, just.
I mean, I did watch every episode of Chima and review it at great length. You know, so I do have some kind of an investment in it, I guess. I don't know. Let's go ahead and wrap up, I think. We're bordering on 3 hours.
Wow.
But it
That's
was
nothing
bound
compared
to
to a
happen.
crystallized coverage.
It's true. I expected to have intrinsically less to say because I liked most of it, and that is true,
Yeah.
but I'm glad we still got a good amount. I really hope that they don't botch this, because if they keep this level of quality consistent, this will definitely be one of my favorite seasons. It'll be quite high up there, actually.
Mhm.
If they do sink the landing, it'll probably be a bit depressing. But, you know, we'll see. I have hope. Well done. I just want to say, I mean, I've smack talked the work of this team enough times in Crystallized and in the Virtues of Spinjitzu shorts. You know, I've made no bones about criticizing their stuff in the past. So if anybody watches this, you know, anybody from the team, you have Doc Wyatt, Kevin Burke, you know, anybody on the team, you guys did very well. Very, very, very good job. I loved this a lot, and I think you've given a shot in the arm that Ninjago desperately needed. And you successfully pulled me back in from the brink of like legitimately quitting the fandom. So that's pretty impressive. You were able to melt my cold dead heart, and all it took was a snail man and a kid that likes pies. Epic. What do you guys? You got any closing thoughts?
I
Yeah, I
am
think-
very relieved. I'm so excited to say that I'm interested in the future of the show again. Like, genuinely.
Epic.
I mean, I was always gonna watch it and be interested, but I'm very happy that it's actually like extremely good. I mean, that's always great.
Yeah, I just
And I think this is like a lot of the things they did in this season are things we wanted for a time. Maybe like we had a bit different expectations how it would go, but like having new characters, switching up the world, adding some more stakes. I think moving Lloyd to more of a leadership role. These are things fans have been asking for a long time, and kind of like the logical progression for the show in a lot of ways. And I think it's great to see those ideas pulled off well.
As much as I would have liked to say I would have watched it always, I don't honestly know. Like, I was seriously at the point where I was like, what fun is this for anybody if I just hate everything that comes out? And I'm always complaining about like no deaths and no stakes and like Ninjagoism's like, if it's not going to change, and I know it's not going to change, like, wouldn't it make more sense to just like, move on? But this kind of showed that, yeah, it can be done. You can keep the core of what Ninjago is, but mix things up a little bit and keep it fresh. It's not impossible.
The core is what makes us mess up.
Oh my god.
My thought process is pretty much like going into this. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. If I like the first 10 episodes or the first season or first part or whatever, I'll keep watching it. If I don't, then I still got all the rest of the show to love and talk about and discuss and analyze. So either way, it was kind of like a win-win, because I mean, obviously, it would be sad if this was bad.
Good
but at the going into it, my expectations were so low that I wouldn't be too upset. I'd be like, oh well, like this wasn't great, but I still have the rest of the show that I still love and stuff. And maybe there will be another season in the far future that I'll enjoy again too, because no matter what, the show's still going to keep going. But I'm very happy and relieved to say that it was actually good, because now I have things to look forward to. I have more seasons to have fun with and discuss and analyze and get excited about. So
there you go.
It's a huge win for me, and I just hope it stays this way, and I have more faith that it'll stay this way, and I'm willing to give this new show the benefit of the doubt and a fresh start, because I do have faith that it can be really good.
Epic. Josh, your artwork is incredibly impressive as always.
Thank you.
Do you have any closing comments about Dragons Rising?
I'm glad that it's as good as it is. I didn't want to turn into one of those people who like complains on Twitter about how bad new stuff is and how like
what, like me?
No, I was thinking about other specific people who were like this is no longer canon to me, like the old stuff is better, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm glad I'm able to still enjoy it.
Heck yeah. It's good. It's fun vibes, and I like experiencing it all with you guys and going through the crazy road of hype and speculation. NinjagoCast is a lot like Ninjago, lost in the merge. Some of our old members are floating around out there, probably in an egg somewhere. Living life, waiting.
Someone let LJ out of that egg.
But we will carry the torch, and together we will rise, etc., etc., etc. One last comment from Monarch before we wrap up. So each of the new masters has an element that matches their realm. Which element will the one from the Never realm have? That's interesting. I mean,
yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but that's a good point. Like Sora technology, she's from Imperium.
Snow.
Wind from the Cloud Kingdom.
I mean, unironically, like to go back to the One Piece example, there is an ice fruit and a snow fruit in One Piece. That does exist.
Elemental Master of Snow. Here we go.
Snow.
What a Vex
master from the realm of madness.
Oh, Vex! Vex is the master of snow.
He becomes the master of snow, and then
the Snow
Emperor becomes the
Snow
Emperor.
Maybe there will be a new master of form, the Formlings.
Maybe.
Oh. No, that's
Camille
a key to the master of form.
That would mean Camille's gone. Yeah.
That's okay.
I can't wait until Harumi comes back and reveals she's an elemental master now.
Oh no, please.
I see people on Twitter like, I missed the supporting cast. when are they going to come back? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be honest. I kind of, I miss Dareth. I'm wondering what Dareth's up to. We all have our favorite character we like seeing. But I really want to say, like, to the writers, if they ever do listen to this, props for having the restraint to avoid using a lot of the supporting cast. There were barely any of them. And for a reboot, that's really important to avoid, like, pandering
Props to go like
nostalgia.
10
I also
episodes without 2 of the main ninja.
That's
Like,
true.
That's
Yeah.
commendable.
I feel like the ninja are in a lot of ways the supporting cast now, so it's more important to focus on them than like having, I don't know, Vinny, Dareth, and Clutch Powers run around the whole time.
I do wonder about Pixel though, because Pixel didn't get a single mention. Cole at least was in the intro, like the first like few minutes, and had a mural or a painting or a picture or whatever. Pixel did not have anything, and Pixel's not just like a
She's
side
not just
character.
a side character.
Like, she's
I'd
a
say
main
like
cast
Pixel,
member.
Skylar, and actually a set as
Skylar I can understand.
Harumi kind of needs some addressing.
I think the thing is I'm willing to just like not worry about Harumi or Garmadon or Skylar.
Yeah, Garmadon, true.
I would hope that they come back, but like I don't. At the same time, I don't want them to because they're just like
they bring a lot of baggage.
Don't need to. They either don't add anything to the story, or add too much to the story that can't be addressed. Pixel is one of those characters who's just like a main cast member that doesn't really add or subtract from anything. I think she'd be a great addition, especially if she was written with a bit more personality.
Mm-hmm.
Pixel rules the Neverrealm now as the Ice Empress.
Yeah, I think Pixel and Sora would be a really great dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
And I feel like Zane desperately needs somebody to play off of.
Yeah.
Right now, because Zane to me definitely feels the most hollow out of the returning cast. But again, that could be changed in the next 10 episodes since he kind of just appeared at the end.
We didn't have a lot of time with him so far.
All right.
Yeah. But overall, I think that is a wrap for now for NinjagoCast, discussing the first 10 episodes of Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 1. We will be back. I'm sure we're going to have more to discuss. We'll probably take a page out of the post-crystallized handbook and maybe try to come up with some topic prompts to discuss, because I definitely don't want to go dark until the fall. I'm sure there's tons of stuff we can theorize about.
Some news in between.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. But you can be guaranteed we will be back in the fall to discuss the next 10 episodes, whenever they come out, as well as do reactions to them if you want our more like immediate thoughts. But I want to thank all of you for the stream today. It was fantastic seeing all your comments and your thoughts and all the support you guys gave. We really appreciate it. Helping keep the peace afloat. Thank you very much. And thank all you guys for the fun discussions. We will be back at some point in the near future. But for now, this has been NinjagoCast. I am Sensei Meso.
I'm Sakota.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Bendo.
And the dojo is now closed. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Or should I say the monastery is now closed. Where's the Brick Feed Monastery? The TTV podcast monastery connecting everything together. Anyway. Farewell, friends.
Bye.
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 Haha, I did the wrong one.